Your good friend Raf Esparza, your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster. We are here for UFC Fight Night, UFC on ESPN, whatever you want to call it. Just know that later in the evening, you're going to see a main event that is going to be, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's Tyron Woodley versus Gilbert Burns, which is an exciting fight. I mean, all things considered, we're trying to take things from the perspective of, yeah, I'll watch that fight. Quarantine or not, I'd watch that fight. We have a good friend, Dan Hubler, who's going to join us in just a second. But just to walk you through, Vince Morales is making the walkout right now. Join us on ESPN as well, because we're not showing you the fights. Like, you can go somewhere else for that. But stay for our commentary. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the show, Dan Hubler. Dan, how are you doing, sir?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Not too bad.
How are you? Just you so far?
Me, yeah. I'm okay. The rest of the world, we're still trying to figure out if they're okay. So I'm sure that's part of it. Dan, let me ask you this. What do you know about the two gentlemen who are fighting here up first? It is Chris Gutierrez versus Vince Morales.
Yeah, it's a super close fight. I think Morales got kind of robbed in one of his last times out, so I think he should be kind of on a little bit of a win streak. So I think he's probably is going to come to this fight with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He put on a pretty good performance. He was a little bit lackluster last time around, kind of passive in his fight. So hopefully he comes out pretty aggressive.
Interesting. Yes, his last 4 have been decisions straight, 2 of which split on losses and 2 of which are wins. On the opposite side, he's also picked up 2 decision wins, and before that, he had a loss to Domingo Pilate, which was a rear naked choke submission loss. Over on this side, though, Chris Gutierrez, 14-4-1. It's always interesting whenever I see like a record and I immediately see a draw. I go down to find that fight as quickly as possible. I don't know if you do the same.
I do enjoy watching the draws, if for no other reason than to kind of evaluate what judges are looking at. Because I haven't seen there hasn't been a fight where I've been like, oh, that's a good call on the draw before. It's always been like, what the fuck were they watching?
Yeah. Well, my thing is always like, how are you going to ruin this person's record unless it was the most epic of fights? And most often, when you do go back and see those draws, you go, that was not a draw.
Yeah. I mean, what was the one? Was it Frankie Edgar who was involved in the draw? I can't remember the fight, but there was one where it was like very clearly a draw, just because there was a 10-8 round in there, and it was pretty obvious. But other than that, there's very few times when I'm like, oh yeah, that's a draw of a fight.
Now, I was trying to figure out what the hell the hashtag was going to be this evening, but it appears that they're going with hashtag UFC Vegas, which
is super confusing because they're all going to be UFC Vegas.
Yeah, and I thought it could be the Apex Center, UFC Apex, UFC Fight Night. And like, now that they just open it up, I think you just kind of take a hashtag and hope for the best.
Yeah, I'm using UFC ESPN 9 because it seems a little bit easier to narrow things down.
Gray Maynard by Vernon Kirk was the correct answer, apparently, for that draw that we were talking about.
Yeah, Gray Maynard.
It's kind of funny because I remember that fight. And I remember it being intense, but it's so weird when they have all these other performances that you think of first.
Yeah, I can't. What was the most recent draw on a UFC card? Do you have like a supercomputer that can we ask Siri that?
I'm sure we could. We're gonna get into the fight, but see, that's what fans are for, Dan. That's the beautiful part about having fans, is telling them, go research this. And 80% of the time, they'll give you the answer.
Let me see if I can find it really quickly.
This is rule 1 of being a host. Just let them do it. I'll go ahead and tell you what I am drinking this evening in just a second. But just to let you know, introductions are being made by not Bruce Buffer right now. So you can tell what they feel. Do you ever think that if the fighter walks out and they don't see Bruce Buffer announcing them, they get a little hurt?
Yeah, probably. I know, like, a lot of people were pretty bummed about Burt Watson leaving the company. It feels like a couple years ago now. I think a lot of people were pretty bummed out that. I think there's like not only is there the ritual aspect of it, the routine, but I also feel like it's like part of like making the big show is like having Bruce Buffer announce your fight.
Absolutely, it's part of the childhood dream. You want to get in there, you want to have Bruce announce your name, and when he's not there, you go, yeah, all right, other guy, thanks. Start at the top of the round right now in case you're watching along live with us. Gutierrez in the blue trunks, Morales in the black trunks.
I do wonder if this whole COVID thing is going to lead to like end of the Buffer fist bump thing. Have you looked into that? Like the data says that if you fist bump Bruce Buffer, you're more likely to lose.
I have seen that data, and I laugh pretty profusely because part of me thinks like, who was the person that sat at home and goes, man, I'm seeing a trend here. Anybody who's bumping that fist is losing. We start up
pretty smooth right now.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting to see in terms of the exchange. One of the things that I've seen, you've got two different fighters. You've got Chris Gutierrez, who's fighting out of Jersey, born Boston, and he's a Factory X under Mark Montoya. Now, there's a couple of fighters who are actually fighting out of Factory X here tonight. Ooh, nice spinning rack. Also,
speaking of ugly tattoos from last time, what's on the left shoulder?
Say, can you tell me what that is?
It looks like a penguin.
Yeah, part of me couldn't figure that out because, okay, the other thing is Vince, his nickname is Vince Vendetta Morales. So if you're talking nicknames, you've got El Guapo versus Vendetta.
Yeah, and he has the Club Penguin logo on his like left shoulder. He took it really hard when they shut down Club Penguin.
Ooh, he's tripping him up though nicely on this. I have to give it to Gutierrez for these leg kicks so far. Dan, every time I look at one of these guys, do you think that there's a possibility that he got the Penguin to trip up his opponents to like almost when they see the backside be like, what the fuck is that?
I feel like it was more so like I feel like he was like a college wrestler was done like on a bet or something like that. Like after several White Claws, they're like, you won't get that Club Penguin tattoo.
I laugh pretty profusely because I look at this and I can't stop staring at it. Like every camera angle they switch to, if I was tech directing this, I'd be like, push in on the Penguin.
Yeah, those leg kicks are really chewing him up. He's switching stances and having some issues right now.
Not only switching the stances, but now you're seeing that Gutierrez is able to start getting high kicks in. He has that much time to set up and get in and extend, and he's connecting on a couple of these. These are a few things that I was also interested to find out. Chris Gutierrez, also Bellator World Series of Fighting and Legacy Fighting vet, whereas Vince Morales also has been fighting consistently. But this is where I find things always interesting when they go worldwide ranked 80th in terms of bantamweights. So it always makes me think, like, how do you get any kind of comparison when you're ranking when it's anything below like 20? Like I almost feel like I start tying it.
They're all arbitrary. Like it's interesting when you look on like Tapology. If you know, you'll see a guy's like, I'm ranked number 27 in southeastern Nebraska. Like, how do you know that? You know, there's 27 people who fight there. Like it's kind of like just something to throw out there. What's the one? Years ago, there was a fight where on his little fighter info they said like has 5 brothers or something like that. Like they couldn't think of anything.
Ooh, I like that. Look at that. A little bit of life from Morales over just for a split second. You could tell he's not liking being up against the cage, but he connected very quickly with Gutierrez, pushed him back ever so slightly, and now seems to more be feinting to give him a little bit of encouragement. But I still don't like how much his stance has changed from the beginning of this fight.
Yeah, I don't. He's always kind of passive, and he gives up rounds. It looks like he gave up this first round.
Yeah, that's tough, especially. Well, I mean, dude, one of the first things I was thinking when I saw the research is I was like, dude, 4 decisions in a row does not make me ever feel like, man, bet on this dude real quick.
Yeah. I threw a little bit of a bet on him just because it was a coin flip of a fight as far as the odds go, and you know, not gonna walk away from a coin flip.
Man, that was a great foot sweep and leg kick at the same time. This guy has enough time to decide mid kick if he wants to make it into more of a trip or more of a kick. and we go to the last 10 seconds on that. Dan, let me ask this. So did you take a look at any of the Submission Underground betting lines for tomorrow?
I just very, very briefly took a look at it. I like that Don Stoner is finally getting some respect because for the last couple cards, he's been a pretty big underdog, and he silenced some people, I think. So that's good for him. But, I mean, Craig Jones, I think the odds were what, like minus 350, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that's probably about as high as you're going to get of a favorite when it comes to grappling. I don't know, I would like to see some prop bets, like will he, Craig Jones by decision or Craig Jones in overtime or Craig Jones, like I'd like to see more options for betting instead of just betting on the fighter, because that would give you probably some better lines.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out exactly who they had putting that one together. Do you happen to know any of that intel?
I have no idea. I know that the Heather, what's her last name? Standing.
Mm-hmm.
She's running the show over there. But as far as like creating the lines, I think most of these sports books all have the same handicappers setting things up for them. Probably some, gringo down in South America who's, doing things for 5 dimes and for all these different books.
I had somebody who tried to place a bet, and the note that I got back, which was pretty hilarious, was they said they capped the bets at $100. Guy on the phone said, "We don't take anything more than 100 for anything that's not real."
Oh, simulations. Yeah, UFC simulation bets have been pretty big lately. I have a buddy who's been betting on those all the time. And then there's. It sounds like a total degenerate thing to do, to bet on video game simulations, but when you really think about it, like there's so much data available, like to help you make an informed decision.
Absolutely.
And there's fewer intangibles. You don't have to worry about how was the weight cut? Like there's so many things that you don't have to worry about. And when you have like 5 PlayStations running that simulation, and you can like create data on, well, this guy wins 80% of the time. Well, it might be a good bet. It might be a better bet than a lot of things we bet on.
Dude, yeah, that's the hardest thing is when I see them come up, there's a large part of me that goes, man, is this so fucking stupid that I want to bet on it? Like, rather than actually taking the straight up who's going to win toward the end of the night bet.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'll admit I've bet on one fight, on one UFC simulation, and that was last week. It was Conor McGregor versus Frankie Edgar. I'm like, man, I've played UFC 3 enough online to know that everybody picks Conor McGregor because he's overpowered in that game. He's gonna win, and I threw $20 on him, and he was the favorite. So I won. I think $16. So yeah, that calf is destroyed. Vince's calf is destroyed right now.
Yeah, they were. I think signaling toward it. I couldn't really hear. I mean, on your closed captioning, did you see them say anything in particular of it? Because they were zooming in on the foot. Ooh.
No, I did not. I was focused too much on staring at his destroyed leg. I wasn't even reading the captions.
Dude, he is trying to use that cage. Not like normally when they say don't grab the cage, they mean to get out of something. This is one of those don't grab the cage because you can't stand up otherwise, my friend.
Yeah, I think in this kind of scenario, they should encourage grabbing the cage. You want the fight to go on, so let the guy stand up if he needs to. It's not like it's not changing the course of the fight too much.
Well, I think that's when the referee comes in with like a crutch and goes, "Bro, if you want to use this, just don't use it as a weapon. You're good."
Because what happens if he does fall to his butt? Is Gutierrez going to fall to the ground? Probably not. He's going to let him stand back up. So just let the guy keep standing. Let him keep doing his thing.
Man, all right. Well, I mean, the other thing to know, oof. Just
what time do you got? I got 155.
I'm at 217, so I'm behind you.
Okay. Yeah, so you're seeing some of the brutality I just saw. But yeah, he's definitely that leg is destroyed.
Yeah, if you're like 20 seconds ahead of me, you're watching me squirm as I'm seeing some of these land and just progressively getting worse each time. Oh my god!
Yeah, if it goes to a third, I mean, I know the corner throwing the towel in is kind of a hot topic after the Smith fight. But
Ooh.
I mean, if your fighter can't even, stand up, I don't know how you don't throw in the towel. He's too worried about staying on his feet. He's going to get knocked out.
This is also for what? Gutierrez coming in over here, continuing the strikes. I also like the fact when I do the research, it notes that he's like a BJJ purple belt. And I'm always like, that's about where I'm okay. But it always makes me a little bit worried whenever I see them go like blue belt on there. And I'm like, we don't need to know that, dude. We're good.
It doesn't bother me if someone, is a purple belt. It bothers me when they use the purple belt as like a qualification. Like I am a purple belt. Like, I don't know if that's be the first thing that would like qualify you to be in this fight.
Oh my god!
And you're about to see some cool stuff. I think I need to sync up to you.
Okay. I mean, I'll definitely wait for that in between rounds. I'll see what I can do to also meet you halfway on that one. But Jesus, I mean, dude, oh, no, yeah, they just called it. Okay. I mean, yeah, I guess. Dan, what do you think of that stoppage?
I mean, if the guy can't stand up, the guy can't fight, really. I mean, it'd be different if Gutierrez was following him down to the ground and like doing some grappling exchanges, then it would make sense to give him a chance to keep going. But if this fight is taking place 100% on the feet and the one guy can't stand up on his feet, then it makes sense to shut it down.
Yeah, it's progressively harder to watch continuously. Like one person not even struggling to keep up on the strikes, but then nope. They're zooming in on a slow replay, and you see the calf muscle dying. No.
Well, speaking of UFC simulations, leg kick knockouts are a lot more common online than they are in real life.
That's fair. I was looking at some of this earlier, and some of these things aren't too far from being simulations in terms of how they rank. And look at these fighters. I mean, there is one person who I thought I saw have kicks as a TKO. It might have actually been Gutierrez before. Internet, find that out for me.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know that too.
While we wait for the official decision, I want to tell you guys what I'm drinking here today. This is Taste the Rain, bros. So far, so good. It's from the Indie Brewing Company. What's that, Dan?
What type of beer is it?
It is a double India Pale Ale, 8.5 ALC by volume.
I'm guessing there's some Galaxy hops in there. Sounds like
there is. It's actually, let me see. I'm trying to read on the other side over this way. Not much else except for it is brewed out of California, but it's not telling me exactly where. It's in almost invisible fucking ink. Great job, guys. I can tell you it's out of California. I can't tell you where, but I'll have more information on that as it becomes available. Super delicious way to start off my evening. Not a great way to start off the evening. Watching leg kicks disseminate somebody.
Yeah, not a great start to the evening for Vince there.
Yeah,
probably not the great start to his next month. I'm sure he's going to be limping for quite some time.
I mean, yeah, you see the remnants of all the leg kicks having a result. I mean, he's walking, so that's obviously a good thing. It's just man could not fight, and he definitely wants to leave this cage immediately. Are they going to be doing talking today?
I hope not. The after fight interviews are my least favorite part of any event. But these guys are they just got done fighting. Like let them interview them later. Like the ones that they have the pressers and afterwards, and those are fine. They have time to collect themselves. They're not still like covered in each other's blood. But like the interviews in the cage right after the fight are almost always a waste of time unless they're like Henry Cejudo. Then they're like a massive waste of time.
I'll tell you this much. As somebody who does interviews, I do judgment calls. There are some interviewees that I see that look just fine, and I'll go up to them afterwards, and I have no issue. But there have been a couple people who I've definitely gone up to after a fight and said, hey, let's talk on Tuesday. I want to give you 2 days to kind of get your wits about you. I still
look a little concussed. Yeah, maybe we do this later.
Well, to be fair, that is how I came to know one Rich Leroy, who famously fought Gabe Green on this card here tonight. Very excited for him. But I saw Rich after one of his fights. It was against Jalen Turner, which is one of the best fights I've ever seen live, if not the best. And I went up to him and I said, "Hey, buddy, that was one of the best things I've ever seen, but I would like to interview you in like 3 days." And he agreed. He was very gracious with his time, and it was a better interview because of it. But I told him afterwards, I was like, "Hey, man, I couldn't in good conscience do it." They are doing post interviews, and DC has got the headset on. This is so weird.
Since you mentioned the Leroy fight, that Leroy fight is one of the reasons why I'm big on Green tonight.
You should be.
Green, I mean, Daniel Rodriguez is talented, but with Green at almost a 3-1 underdog, there's so much value there. And coming off that Leroy win, and he just beat someone who was undefeated right before that. Like, there's a lot of line.
Dan, are you at all worried about the time off though?
How long has he been off? Because I know he got the call last week. I can't remember who's he training with. Sub fighter, right? It was.
I believe so. Yes.
I see all these posts on Facebook, and people are like, "Oh yeah, we just got the call, and now we're working out." I remember on that post that there was a video of him like working out in his backyard, or something like that. I'm like, he looks like he's in pretty good shape. I'm not too concerned, but yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, I feel like with all these fights, time off, not being 100%, like none of that's gonna really fucking matter as much because like nobody's 100%.
Well, it was, I believe, since Leroy's fight with him, so about a year and a half-ish amount of time has been off for him.
I know he got the call a couple times because he had a couple injuries. He got the call a couple times and he couldn't sign the contract because he was injured. But yeah, I'm glad. That is a good thing because it tells me like he's not coming into this fight injured. Like he's been offered a UFC fight before. He's been hurt, couldn't do it. So this time around, he must be, looking pretty good.
Yeah, I'm pleased with that. And I mean, you mentioned this a little bit, and that's relatively where I'm about, which is, hey man, this is the perfect time if you are healthy to come in and make your debut. Like, get in your time if you feel good, because who knows where everybody's at. I would say though, Rodriguez is a great fight. I think they were trying to pair them together out here in the local circuit in Cali. And I think just stylistically, it's a fantastic fight to put together. I think it was one of the things that made me hyper interested in this. And we'll see this on the pre-card here today for the prelims, the main card coming up a little bit later. I do want to bring up a couple things. One, I was correct. In my research, not only does Chris Gutierrez also have a win over Bendy Casimir, but his fight against Jimmy Flick was by leg kicks.
Okay.
It was a TKO by leg kicks, and that was back in April of 2018. So I guess the man is consistent, if anything else. I would say this, though. Vince Morales' nickname, or at least one of his shirts that he had, I couldn't tell if I hated this or respected it, but one of the shirts read Invincible because his name is Vince. And
I feel like that's something his grandma gave him or something, He had to wear it.
I don't know. As a person who has produced clothing, how close are you to the puns of saying, like, yeah, let's run that as a shirt?
That's an absolute no. But, if your grandma gives you that shirt, you got to wear it at least once.
I'm pretty sure he made it.
And I mean, when you have like a Club Penguin tattoo, like covering it up with anything at that point is kind of a good option.
It's pretty spectacular. Let's do this, Dan. I'm going to send you an invite off of the Instagram so that way we can be on both of these at the exact same time, although I will not be turning on that audio. So give me just a second. If you guys are tuning in, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. We hope that you are enjoying your wonderful Saturday. Here is me going live over on the Instagram. So there is that. Did you ever figure out if you're glitched? Hey, what's up, friends? I don't know if you guys are watching the fights over on ESPN. We sure are. Coming up next, Louis Smokla versus Casey Kenny, which should be a very good fight if you weren't watching. Sending a request. Oh, Dan has to actually follow it, so you have to go see me on that.
What do I have to go to?
So go to Verbal Taps Live, and
I got
then
it.
just yeah. Anyway, that's what we got going on. I'm going to go ahead and send Dan his invite over here. Request, you're already here, so perfect. All right. So in case you guys are watching on the mainstream, it is on all of our channels except for Instagram, which we just added right now. We've got Dan Hubler, myself, you guys watching the ESPN fights, a lot of amazing fights coming up this evening. We'll be taking questions on both sides over this way. So if you've got comments, questions, hints, concerns, all of that good stuff, hit us up. In the meantime, we will try to integrate you guys because you're part of the show as well. Dan, tell the people what they can expect from this evening's fights.
You know what? I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of decisions tonight. That's just kind of the vibe I'm getting based on, how the card's laid out, which means there's probably going to be a lot of competitive, really close fights, which is good. But I think if you're someone who enjoys watching early finishes, early knockouts, you're probably going to be disappointed. But then again, in that first fight, I wouldn't have never expected a leg kick knockout. So could be
Fair
wrong.
enough. Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, I don't think anybody really had leg kicks as a form of a knockout this early in the game today, but that's where we're at.
There's probably been at least one in a UFC simulation today, though.
I mean, I didn't know that you had bet on a simulation before, but I'm also not highly surprised by it.
Yeah. I feel like I had an edge, Like, I play this game. I know who people pick, so.
What's up, everybody joining us on Instagram? We thank you guys very much. Again, throw us questions. I'm checking right now to see what's going on over on the Facebook, so that way we integrate everybody all at once. Some other things to note throughout the evening. We were talking just a little bit, in case you missed it, about the great opportunity to see Gabe Green take on Rodriguez in one of the later fights in this evening's preliminary bouts. How excited are you for the actual main event, though?
I'm stoked. I'm really glad to see Burns get a shot. I mean, it's not a title fight, but it's right up there. If he wins, it'll put him right there. So I'm very excited for that fight. I'm also excited to see if Woodley can bounce back from that terrible ass whooping he just took against Usman.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm interested to see with Woodley, because Woodley's like one of those people that you kind of go, man, he's been gone for a little bit. I do wonder how he's going to come back tonight.
You kind of hope that he wins. He won't I don't know. Maybe if he wins, he will continue rapping. But I feel like if he loses, then he'll have more time off.
I would say, as somebody who has more interest in people's rap careers as a side project, part of me looks at that with vested interest of, I don't know if winning makes you rap more or losing makes you rap more.
Yeah, I feel like you'd have less material if you lost, though. Because his one single is "I'll beat your ass," right? Like that's his one single. But if you're getting your ass beat all the time, you can't really rap about that stuff anymore.
I mean, I don't know, man. Rap game is very different than normal things. It's kind of like you could have your rap persona be the best in the world, and that's all they're going to brag about. It's why there's a never-ending beef between Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, and you're just like, sure, one of you is the best this week, and then next week another song will come, and who cares?
I didn't know they had beef. I thought they were on songs together.
Oh no, they might have been on songs together, but that doesn't mean they don't have beef, and they do, which is absurd. Is this a new Conor McGregor ad or an old one? I don't really get to see commercials all that much.
I'm seeing something different. I'm seeing arthritis pain commercials.
Oh well, that's even.
So maybe
better.
it's regional.
Yeah, that's always interesting to find out on that side, because I always look at whenever they put up the commercials on here, I'm like, but we're both on ESPN. I guess they might be going through my spectrum if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm on the app, on the ESPN Plus app.
But see, I'm on the ESPN Plus app as well, but you have to be signed in through your cable as well to watch this one, right?
Oh, yeah, I don't have cable.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. When did you give up the cable, sir?
Years ago. I don't even know. I have no idea. Because any show that I really want to watch, I just download the episode on Pirate Bay. So I have not been a cable subscriber probably probably for close to a decade.
Well, we have somebody over here. Dane Donovan says, I'd rather be forced to listen to Woodley's rap than receive one of those leg kicks. Man.
Yeah, I'm sure Vince is feeling the same way, but Vince didn't just take one. I think he probably took about 50. I would like to see this. I'd like to see the stats on that fight. How many leg kicks did he take?
I mean, I don't know that there's any answer where I go, yeah, maybe 10 of those less would be pretty good.
Yeah. Are you queued up with me now? We got the fighter tail of the tape.
I don't have that yet. I'm just ending the Spectrum Mobile commercial right now. So I'm about to get the tail of the tape. I just got it right now.
Do we know what happened to Buffer? Did he say anything?
No, I don't think. Or I don't know. I don't think Buffer's coming a little bit later this night. What's up, Sean T? Good to see you. Again, send us notes. We're incorporating you guys. You're part of the show. You should know that by now. He checked 0. Is what the John Jitsu said.
Yeah, I didn't see a single check. I saw like 5 different stance switches, but I think both of his legs got eaten up.
Yeah, I mean, not only did he check 0, but then he continued to kind of hobble around the cage in a place where you go, man, I don't think there's any offense you can throw back from this.
You know, is Reebok making face masks?
I don't know. That's a good question to ask.
Because that seems like an interesting loophole. Like, you know how they can't wear anything, non-Reebok. Well, if Reebok is not like the approved sponsor of their face masks, maybe you can throw a casino logo on there or something.
I'm sure you just saw Reebok is on the tail end of their deal with the UFC, and they say that they expect to not re-sign with them.
Yeah. I can't imagine that's working out for really either party.
I mean, I don't know how much the UFC made, but the fighters themselves didn't make shit off of this one.
Well, I don't even know. I wonder how much Reebok made because, like, I love fighting. I watch every event. I'm not buying one of those fight kits. You know what I mean? No. Like, what I look like a fucking poser with a Conor McGregor team. Whatever it is. It just makes no sense. The entire business model makes no sense.
Top of the Smolka fight. I don't know if you're with me on this one. It says Kenny or Smolka. Who do you guys got for this fight? I'll start with you, Dan.
I'm gonna bet Kenny, just because I think he's a little bit more consistent, and Smolka's had some really big highs and obviously some pretty low lows. So just for consistency's sake, I'm gonna take Kenny.
I mean, obviously, I would like to see Smolka pull it out. SoCal guy over this way fights out of Team Oyama.
Yep.
So there is that. However, I would say this as well. Casey Kenny is also a guy who has a vicious knee knockout over one of my good friends, Vince Cachero. And Vince is a pretty tough guy, but when I saw that knockout, I was like, fuck, that was really good, dude.
Oof. Back to the leg kicks.
Yep. I mean, hey, dude.
And he also looks a little bit like TJ Dillashaw, right? So you got to think he has a little bit of that like championship quality as well.
He's like a little hybrid of Gagey and Dillashaw put into one.
Yeah, exactly.
They got together and had a kid. That's what that ginger's going to look like right there. Woo! I realize I am behind you, but I understand now why you reacted, why you did. Man. So I don't know if that answers your question, Dane, but yeah, that's about where my allegiances lie right now. You got
Oyama. I don't know if Oyama's had a day off. He's got a fighter on pretty much every one of these cards lately.
Absolutely, dude. You got to keep the train rolling. I see Matt Salinas at every one of these events now, practically. Yeah. Although it is pretty interesting to get to see the peeks into all of the fighter rooms and all the stuff, given COVID and whatnot.
Yeah, I wonder how much the adjustments are affecting the things like the weight cuts and stuff like that. I know they all have those tiny little saunas that they have in their rooms, but I can't imagine it's optimal.
Kenny is connecting well here.
Yeah, he keeps going back to that inside leg kick too, and I think it's going to create some problems in later rounds.
Yeah, that's pretty solid so far. Dane Donovan says, I stay sexually active in my community while wearing my Reebok fight kit.
Who's the fighter on the fight kit? Because I think that would matter.
Yeah, you don't want to have a quick finish with one of those fight kits. Ooh, nice connection again over there by one Kenny. I keep wanting to call him Kenny Casey because it just sounds like a country music artist. What's up, everybody? Just joining us right now. We appreciate it. And the tap is there. Wow. That was solid.
So, yeah. So, speaking of betting, Kenny's scorecard's no action in that fight, which means if it goes to the judges, your bet is canceled. You don't lose any money. You just get your money back. Was minus 125. Okay. And Kenny minus 3.5 points. So if it goes to the judges and it's 29-28 across the board, you lose. You got to get at least 3.5 points over. That was plus 130. So a $25 bet on both of those profits you $52.
Good to know. This is always educational, Dan. This is why you're a true teacher in this element.
Yeah. Well, $52.50. Forget the 50 cents. I guess I could throw that 50 cents on a UFC simulation bet later and not feel bad about it.
I've never asked you, what is the tiniest amount that you've ever bet on something?
I bet $1 on things all the time, just to make it more exciting to watch.
Oh wow. Okay. We have over here Wow Kenny, and we also have Jordan Peitzman that says, "I stay sexually active while wearing my Vertical Tap T-shirt." Thank you.
It's probably more the mustache than the shirt.
I think so. It's just, oh god, just the thought of somebody like when you create merch, you don't ever think like, oh hey, someone should definitely do it in this. But hey, you know what? If it gets it seen, sure, why not? Oh my goodness, I feel bummed for Smolga. I'm not in love with how he got finished in that.
Yeah, it reminded me of I want to say 2 or 3 fights ago when he got finished with that triangle choke. I can't remember who he's fighting, but it was kind of just like a disappointing look.
It's just like I'm looking at it and I can't help but think like, yo, bro. I know at a certain point he pinned down the other arm, so that you made it felt like you weren't there. But I thought earlier on he had a way to kind of start defending that.
No, those are all UFC branded face masks is what I'm seeing. No, they're all different.
Really? So everybody gets to bring in their own individual one? Like
I think that's where sponsors should be jumping in. I'll sponsor your face mask.
To be fair, I would say in terms of face masks and everybody bringing in their own, I think it's mostly because Dana doesn't want any part of COVID. Like, if he has a choice, he would rather people not be wearing any kind of mask.
Well, imagine the liability. Like, I'm obviously UFC and their lawyers have all their shit together, so probably never, get to litigation. But if everyone was wearing UFC branded face masks as a requirement, and then a bunch of fighters got COVID, like, oops.
Well, keep in mind, Dana was criticized yesterday because everybody was wearing face masks except him, which the athletic commission over there was not happy about, considering all of the things that they've been trying to fix and corral for this situation. What's up, Iron Lion Soap? But then they revealed that Dana White said that he's just going to watch the fight from his private room.
Oh. Makes sense. Kind of like the whole Chael Sonnen thing with the Submission Underground, just in a barn somewhere with, no lights on, watching the fights.
Well, especially if you're Dana. It says, did you guys think John Jones is underpaid at about $5 million a fight?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's an interesting fact.
He got a good point about his brothers too. Like, I mean, he's a freak of an athlete. If he went the football route, he'd be making, 20 mil. He'd be making significantly more money if he was playing football like his brothers. But, the superstar athletes in this sport just don't get paid as much as the other sports.
Here's an interesting thing that I think somebody brought up, and I don't know who really brought it up to my attention, but I agree with it wholeheartedly, which is, yeah, sure, Dana White is bitching that John Jones is asking for a raise at a really shitty time. But this is pretty consistent with how shitty the UFC is with or without a pandemic. So it's not unusual for them to say, like, hey, listen, yeah, I should probably be paid more. And I think that's part of the appeal of seeing him get into that super fight. Dude, if you really want to fight somebody like Francis Ngannou, pay the man his money. So I agree with that. If he's asking for too much, that's fine. But Dana White coming on, he's like, he wants Deontay Wilder kind of money. It's like, I don't think that's true.
Do we have pay-per-view numbers on the Tony Gaethje fight?
The Tony and Gaethje fight, I think it's still too early.
Okay. Because if I was one of these fighters negotiating a contract for a fight, and the UFC is offering, less guaranteed money and more pay-per-view, which is what it sounded like they offered Jones. I think I'd be pretty hesitant about that because I feel like as far as like the economy goes and, people got other shit going on right now. I don't know if those pay-per-view numbers are going to, offset whatever money I would have made in guaranteed money.
Yeah, I have no idea what the hell they were doing for any type of the negotiation on that. I just knew I was pissed when I saw that fight got swatted down just because of greed. And, I mean, props to John Jones in this respect for saying, hey, you know what? Just release me then. And I was like, yeah, he's not going to get released, but this is pretty funny. Yeah,
I felt kind of like an empty threat, because, they're not going to let Jones go. There's no way. But I still like this. I like his attitude going into it.
Well, the other thing that I felt that was pretty interesting as well from the UFC's perspective was you saw Dana get up there and go, well, you know what, with a guy with that track record, I was like, oh, now he has a track record, Dana.
Yeah. Now it matters.
Because, all those other times he just fought. We were like, steroid schmeroids. Pregnant lady. She was asking for it, right? This is pretty interesting to see that they've got with Gilbert Burns. They've got a nice series of vignette packages that just feature him in a gi for a split second. Because I'm always like,
yeah, as a child. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always to date back and be like, hey, guys, he's a fighter. He's been there. Dane Donovan says, I agree with you guys. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Good. I don't know that any of us who are true fight fans are really against fighters getting paid more, especially once they started crunching the numbers and they were being paid less than 20% of what we were kind of seeing just in terms of the reported revenue. You know what? I think they might have released some information on some digital. I got to see if we can find that. If any of you guys have that, find it for us, because I'm not going to be able to find it while we're on air. But they did compare how much the gate that they would be getting from the pay-per-views versus how much the fighters were being paid. And I think, it did come out to less than 20%.
Yeah, I feel like these fighters really do need like some of the superstars to support unionizing, because until that happens, it's just going to be more of the same.
Yeah, I agree. Again, to those of you who are watching, please feel free to send us comments, questions, hits, concerns. Hopefully we can answer them for you as we are going on. You've already seen 2 finishes tonight, which means I'm behind on cheersing, so that's what I have to do. I have to make sure that one, Casey Kenny gets a cheers, and that one, we've got Chris Gutierrez, that one earlier, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take the Casey Kenny one. Would you like to start us off with a cheers to one Chris Gutierrez, sir?
Yeah, I'll grab my Diet Coke. Cheers to Chris Gutierrez for one of the most disgusting leg kick massacres I've seen since I last played UFC 3 on my Xbox.
Cheers indeed. I just like the idea that man had a finish via leg kicks from a previous fight. That would make me at least want to check one kick.
Yeah, I just feel like he never had an opportunity to. I feel like after he took that first one, he was like, oh shit. And like by then it was too late.
And I will go ahead and take the cheers for one. Let's see. The last fight was Casey Kenny. This one goes out to you. Casey Kenny, congratulations to you. That was a little bit of a transition you were able to pull off there. I like that they call it a guillotine. It just looked like a fucking neck crank choke. combined of all different things that just looked entirely hurtful. But that was fun to see. Congratulations. Cheers.
Is that first round or second round?
That was first round, sir.
Okay. I'm trying to update my pool at the same time, which means I'm doing like 4 different things. But
well, how many folks do you have going on tonight? What is the?
We got 9 tonight. We got 10 tonight, so it's a $200 pot.
I will say one of your participants was hilariously telling me that they were like, "Yeah, I did really shitty in the pot. Good thing you guys didn't announce that on air." And I was like, "Oh, I know you were doing shitty." And you're welcome for not announcing it on air. It's a very kind gesture on our part to not have done that.
Yeah, right now in the lead. It's still a tie because we've gotten all of these wrong so far. Like pretty much collectively, we pretty much all thought the first 2 fights were going to go to a decision, and we are obviously wrong about that.
I mean, I'll tell you this much: I'm 2 for 2. I don't know how I would do later in the evening, but.
As far as fighters go, they're doing okay, but like in how they're going to win and when they're going to win, not so well.
Okay. So everybody's tied with one side. I get it. Yeah. It is weird seeing Amanda Nunes with her regular hair in these commercials for the Modelo commercials.
I'm getting Liberty Mutual, so we're definitely getting the regional commercials.
You are getting the shorter end of the stick if you're getting Liberty Mutual. I will tell you that right now. You're getting her drinking some Modelo with some friends, taking the lead as one of those people who I guess is going to be the main card. We like to play a game, and I'll ask people throughout the week, this as well, or even tonight. But how much would you pay if you had the opportunity to pay for next week's UFC pay-per-view?
I know Nunez Spencer's on the card, but I don't know who else is on the card, truthfully. I'd have to take a look.
We'll throw that over to you in a second.
Let's see. Cody Garbrandt. That's a good scrap. I hope. God, he's like one of the most frustrating people to watch because he's just doing so great until he's not. And when he's not, it's over very quickly. Sandhagen, Sterling. That's a great scrap too. Neil Magny. This is a solid card. This is a pay-per-view. Yeah, Sean O'Malley. Yes, solid lineup. I'd pay for this card.
Well, it's not would you pay, it's how much would you pay? If you had the ability
the regular amount, I would not pay any more, but the regular amount. I would, however, pay more if it was John Jones fighting Francis.
Dane Donovan says he would pay about $30. Why do you feel that is not enough, Dan?
I feel like the female main events are always undervalued, but they typically come out. I mean, the fights themselves are always amazing, but I feel like people are less enthusiastic about seeing them for some reason.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like if it what's the last one, the Adesanya Romero fight? Like if Ray Lee hadn't fought right before that event would have sucked.
So what make you the potential to run back between Nate Diaz and Street Jesus?
I'm sorry, you gotta say that one more time.
Street Jesus, aka the baddest motherfucker in the game.
Are they talking about doing that fight again?
Well, it looks like this week when they hit him up, I think he was doing a press round of stuff for like ESPN and shit like that. And you saw Jorge being like, yeah, all right, let's run it back, dude.
Are people clamoring for that fight?
Well, I mean, I think they're just trying to figure out what the fuck to do with Masvidal right now.
Yeah, I'm not interested at all in seeing that again. I thought it was pretty clear. Yeah, it wasn't closely contested. It was, just like I'm not really interested in seeing Woodley fight Usman again. Like we saw 5 rounds of that. Like we saw 25 minutes of that fight. I don't know how many different looks Woodley has to offer, but I'm not clamoring for that rematch either. I feel like when fights are pretty definitive, then an immediate rematch doesn't really make any sense.
That's fair.
But I mean, UFC does love to do the immediate rematch for some reason, so I guess it's possible.
I think when it becomes an issue of they don't know how to match up Usman without Masvidal, then they start getting into these weird fights that you go, I don't think that makes sense. At one point saying that they're going to maybe ask for Conor and Usman to go together, and you go, that doesn't make any sense either.
Yeah, when it comes to like Conor, honestly, I don't even want to see the most competitive fights. Like I don't need to be close. Whatever, you know, I missed the Japanese pride, you know, era of just freak show fights of, you know, this is just entertaining. Let's watch these two guys beat each other up. It doesn't have to be for a title. It doesn't have to be for whatever. Just like good, entertaining matchups. I'd like Conor in those. I'd like Masvidal in those. I would not so much be in a hurry to see either guy fight a guy with, you know, dominant wrestling who's going to hold him against the cage for the duration of the fight. Like, I'm not in a hurry to see that.
Okay. Well, having said that, I always think whenever I see them start matching these things together and I go, okay, well, I guess that's where we're at with Masvidal. I think that's where they're at. Yeah, some super fights don't make any sense. And yeah, I mean, I would see one John Jones go up and fight Francis Ngannou. That seems a little scary and uncertain. What say you when Anderson Silva wants to have a super fight with Conor McGregor?
I fucking love that fight.
Yeah, I do too.
I absolutely love that fight. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Freak show shit. Yeah, that's a great fight. I would pay more for that pay-per-view.
Well, because think about it from this perspective. If they put that fight together, Conor doesn't need to be put into a title contention. That's just a fight that you say, listen, this gets you out of that mold of they have to chase the championship. We have to make an interim title. We have to give Conor a fight that he doesn't truly deserve just to kind of make some shit go.
Yeah,
we have a comment over here.
I'm concerned about Silva making that weight, though. What was the offer? It was like 175 or something like that. I know it's like an
6.4 or something.
Yeah, I'm concerned about him making that weight. I know he used to fight at a lighter weight back in the day, but he's an old guy now. I don't know if he can make it.
That is a pretty good thing that most people learn when they go up to Masters. They're just kind of like, I'm this weight. Nope. Yeah. You come up or you do whatever you want. Dane Donovan says, Jorge has that fast twitch. He's so much faster than Diaz, and he hits way harder. As a Diaz fan, I don't want to see that fight again. Diaz needs to fight Conor and then call it a career. Enjoy his life.
I don't even want to see Diaz fight Conor again. I don't know. I know it was a close fight, but I feel like the narrative of both of their stories doesn't require a third fight. I just feel like they should do something else with you only have X amount of fights in your career, X amount of brain damage you can take. I don't think you should invest that time on a third fight between the two of them. Because it's just like, it's all been done. Like, all the pre-fight shit, they're going to yell at each other. Diaz is going to flip them off. Like, Conor's going to wear some outrageous outfit. Like, we've seen this twice already. Like, I don't need to see it again.
That one I'm okay with seeing again. And it's not because I need a definitive answer in the trilogy. It's just, hey, listen, dude, they're weird people to match up. And Diaz definitely gets people excited to watch fight. And Conor brings in, let me see this. Ravenspur says, definitely don't need to see a third fight for them. Okay, well then where are we going to go with Conor? Because again, they're going to plug him back into the title contention. So you either have to go one route, which does not make any sense, or you get another route where you can get a much more competitive fight. I like the fact that between the two of them, they can actually pull pay-per-view numbers that lift everybody else. Because if you told me there was a Diaz McGregor 3 and I'm a fighter, I want in on that card because I'll make more money. Period.
I bet McGregor Silva pulls in significantly bigger numbers, even though it doesn't matter really in terms of the divisions.
I don't think so anymore. I think 6 years ago, yes. Not as much now.
Well, I got a tail of the tape up. Do you have one yet?
I do not. I got some tribute to all of our first responders right now. and America is open. Kaiser Permanente is the one. I was like, I don't know who the fuck this is from. Tail of the tape hits now. So I'll put this up. Everybody knows where we're at. Nope, that is not the fight we're on. We are in Tim Elliott versus Brandon Royval.
Elliott has had a weird career.
Bro, hasn't he had the weirdest of all careers, though?
Yeah.
Here's what I enjoy, though, about Tim. Tim proves that you can make your way back to the UFC dance if you're pretty consistent and you say, like, hey, listen, I'm going to go somewhere else for a little while and I'll come back.
Yeah. Come back with a glorious mullet.
Well, not only a glorious mullet, but, like, all things considered, even though you saw Demetrius Johnson kind of toy with him for a little bit, I had a lot of respect for him still being in that fight.
Yeah. He put up a pretty good – I mean, back then, Johnson didn't look beatable. You know what I mean? So he put in a pretty good performance against someone that seemed unbeatable.
Yep. So let's say this. Do you know anything about Brandon Royval?
I know he does crazy shit, man. I was watching some of his clips on YouTube, and he likes to shoot for arm bars. He likes to go for flashy moves, and that, I mean, it might pay off, but I feel like against a veteran like Elliott, it's probably not the best decision to try and do flashy shit on your UFC debut.
Got Dane Donovan who says, "Oh, daddy, Elliott is taking it." And I'm just at the top on here, 455 right now on mine. What's up, Pavs? Good control over here by Elliott, though. Up top. Granby out of it from one Royval. Now you're seeing the ability for Elliott to kind of try and hit some strikes. He's trying to get one of those arms in, almost like to get that bulldog choke. Instead, Royval is trying to get up from off of his knees. Elliott trying to take advantage with a series of punches, swarming up there. Almost tries to sit out, almost gets himself into a awkward rear naked choke situation, but not quite there. However, Elliott showing some nice dexterity as well.
Yeah, there's some good scrambles already.
Mm-hmm. So yes, Dane Donovan feels very strongly about this. Do you have a certain strong feeling? I mean, obviously, to begin with, it's looking very promising for Elliott, but did you have one you were coming into this with? I
thought Royval was a pretty good value, just because he was coming in as an underdog. He has a pretty slick submission game. But again, going back to that whole thing with fighting a UFC veteran, and you're the one who likes the flashy maneuvers, you're the blue belt who learned how to berimbolo before you could pass guard. It might not work against that grizzled old purple belt with the mullet, who sweats all over you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, it was pretty funny. Is that kind of a Kimura grip that he had right here? No, it's just underneath. I looked away for a second. I was like, holy fuck, how the fuck did he pull that off? And Davies, what's up? Good to see you joining us as well. I mean, looking promising. 3 minutes left to go in this round. Elliott already trying to go in for a single, pushes Royval up against the cage. Royval also is somebody who fought 8 times for LFA, which is usually the feeder that takes you straight into the UFC. So he's definitely got a good amount of experience himself.
Yeah, Elliott's making this an ugly fight.
I do like this, though. This was the perspective that Royval said earlier this week, where he said, hey, listen, I probably risk too much when I'm going in there because I just look forward and throw punches. I need to calm down because I definitely am an emotional wreck anytime I come into these fights, and my coaches have to take me down a notch before I go in and fight. And part of the reason he says that he's excited about fighting, Tim Elliott, is he says, hey, man, that's a better opportunity to make some fight of the night money.
Yeah, Elliott's making it ugly, as anyone with a mullet probably will. But Royval's starting to pick up some speed.
Mm. Yeah, I love that clip that they were showing that he got that armbar continuously. I'd seen that earlier, but getting to repeat that a couple times is pretty dope coming into this fight. Do you ever, if you're rolling with somebody, have a moment where you see somebody in a mullet and you go, all right, I know what this is going to be like?
Yeah, I feel like you know anyone with a mullet, you can learn a lot about him just by seeing the mullet.
I mean, the best strategy here. Oh my God, he's going for the octopus strategy.
Yeah, this is a crazy exchange on the ground right now.
What's up, Josh? Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going for that pro wrestling. It's called the octopus stretch. You'll see people like Zack Sabre Jr. do it. Super OGs within the sport. Laying and
I think
and back.
The fact that Royval's right by the cage might help him out here.
This pace, man. Yeah, you're not fucking shitting us. I completely agree. What's up, Ricardo? Good to see you joining us this evening. If there's anything that he's doing that's pretty smart, it's not the pace, it's the ability to say, listen, dude, I'm going to wear you down continuously. He's been sagging all of his weight and making him carry it this entire time. Nice transition there. However,
I feel like Elliott's more tired than Royval, though. Yeah, I mean, Royval's been carrying the weight this whole time, but Elliott looks like he might have burned himself out.
Yeah, maybe. I think what you're seeing, though, dude, nice pop. This is indicative of somebody who has a lot of wrestling experience from one Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott wrestled not only in high school, won a state championship, made his way on over to competing for his college in, that's not the place you want to be, bro. That is the armbar that is going to get the finish? Or was that end of time?
End of time.
That was end of time. That looked really bad for somebody who has a series of really good submission work throughout his other fights. Okay. All right. That's a good place to start. It says, I agree. Elliott looked a little gassed. Eesh. So you're not getting the Conor McGregor commercial again here, Dan? Are you sad that you're not getting
I got the Liberty Mutual again.
Again, boo. I feel like we're getting the better of the two. Though I will say the Liberty Mutual one that has the guy saying Liberty Bibbity is actually very funny.
This is the one with the guy in the car when he pulls up with the ostrich.
My wife used to work for Liberty Mutual ages ago, and she definitely had a moment where every time he says Liberty Bibbity, I'm like, you're laughing because you work there. It says, how much weight is Elliott cutting? Dan, do you have any idea?
No idea.
I would say as a wrestler, it's always hard to determine. We're at the top of the second right now for me. You're probably about 20 seconds ahead of me, Dan, if I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm at 4:30 right now.
Yikes. All right. Well, at least we know it goes to a 4:30.
Yeah, I'm trying to control my emotions as cool things happen so you can see it for yourself.
I appreciate that.
But it's also important that I have I'm glad I'm ahead of you, at least, because it allows me to bet live in between rounds.
That's fair. I wouldn't ask you to do anything different, sir. Again, I always have this theory that people like to watch you have reactions to things, so I'm never afraid to be maybe a smidge back. It's also my generous hate of all things real time, that if I'm ever watching an award show or an event or something big where I'm tweeting afterwards, I go, listen, they can be ahead of me because I hate commercials with a passion. What's up, Mike?
Yeah, I'm trying to put things in my memory. In 20 seconds, I should talk about this. But I believe they should be on the ground where you're at, and there's some pretty good exchanges already.
I like that he's trying to just yank on the arm. There's not really an actual straight arm bar there. It's just him being like, does this fucking work?
Sometimes those work, man. I've caught in some freaky straight arm locks that I wasn't sure were going to work. That just kind of worked out before.
True, but
I think once you know enough about jiu-jitsu and you know how the body's supposed to work, you're like, oh well, it shouldn't do this, so that'll probably hurt.
Sure. The main thing that I find though with most MMA fighters is whenever they have one of those spur of the moment submissions, they just kind of look at you like, why the fuck would you do that? Fuck you. And then they just get madder and go harder.
I don't like the fact that Elliott keeps working from this leg ride position. Because it didn't work out in round one for him, and he ended up giving up position, and it looks like he's probably going to do the same in round two.
I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. It looks like a cool crucifix opportunity, but I also don't find him as somebody who's going to fully take that up. Because you can see him almost giving up that back for like almost a half guard sweep continuously.
Yeah, I can see my jiu-jitsu professor yelling at me about position first, and not doing the cool shit.
I mean, he's trying for this guillotine right now. And on my side, it looks like he might be able to Royval might be able to pop out still. He just really is not liking this.
I mean, they're both sweaty. It's round two. Yeah.
And now he is firmly he gave up position, and now he has his back compromised, and they're kind of looking at a head and arm triangle, which is a submission of the podcast, as you see Royval doing a great job of going over the side. He's completely flat. However, you see the defense by one Elliott over here, and he does tap. Oof. Dan, how much time do you think you need to give somebody before you finish them? Because sometimes whenever that person makes that like round to come back, that's like, oh, hey, I've seen people be like, I don't want to talk to you right now, dude.
Oh, after you talk to them after the fight's over?
Yeah.
I think it depends on how it ends. I feel like with like an arm triangle choke like this, where like he didn't go out, he kind of just like admitted it was over. Like there's an instant like bro hug, like any other jiu-jitsu match. But if I just got done like slicing your face open with elbows and like that ended the fight, then I might chill for a little bit and like let you get your wits about you.
I just always feel bad when like they get up and they go, oh, I didn't say something to the other person. And there's an immediate like, I don't know that he wants to talk to you at this particular time and place. Here's a question. Do you feel, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, do you feel that part of that gas tank might have played a role toward the end of that submission there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I also feel like it was the issue was a failure to make corrections from round one. Like he was using that funky crucifix leg right position in round one. It didn't work. He ended up giving up position to the younger, more, faster scrambling fighter. And then in round two, the same thing happened. I think he got comfortable in that position and should have. I hate to be the person who's not in there who's saying what he should have done, but I just feel like the mistakes from round one were repeated in round two, and it just led to a finish.
You'll be just fine, I promise you. It's not like someone's gonna come over here and be like, you know what, Dan, I heard what you were saying on that one show, and you know what, fuck you, man. Now we just signed you to a 3-fight contract with the UFC.
Yeah. That's cool. As long as I can fight like Conor McGregor or Anderson Silva and get my ass whooped for pay-per-view points, I'll be down with that.
Hey, man, I'm so glad that there's always a right price for Dan Hubler. Doesn't really matter if you would be murdered and maybe take a little bit of CTE. You're like, at least pay me for it.
Yeah. My brain is has been pretty well protected most of my life. I can take a few shots here and there and still retire as a rich man.
This is so funny. I like that you get these comments. Somebody says, before the owner blocks my comment, I'm streaming the UFC fight. Clear cut, no audio. Come by my gaming page. DM me to get the link. Okay. Well, you guys can do whatever you want on your own time.
Well, it's free on ESPN, guys. Come on. You don't need to pirate anything.
That's why it's amazing. Well, no, I mean, if they're not watching because they don't have ESPN Plus, but like of the ones that you're going to pay for, this is the cheaper end.
Well, it's like Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu for $12. All three. It makes
listen,
sense.
Vaughn, Mike, again, this is one of the free ones, so you can go somewhere else, or at least copy and paste this status and do it next week. Next week, people will need it. I just always wondered who these people are who come
watching these replays. Are you getting the replay? You're a little bit behind, but the replays right now are the finish. Okay, yeah. So right before he got into that arm triangle position, it looked like Elliott was going to reverse, but he was really crafty there. He got his hips out just in time.
Sorry about that. Vaughn Mike is watching, and he said, ESPN Plus, you got to pay for it. Simple Fuck out of here. No, you fuck out of here. We don't need you right now. Listen, yeah, you got to pay for it, but it's fucking $5, dude. I do it for all the events. Well, we appreciate your service to this country, sir. But do it next week. Next week matters more. This week, not so much. Looks like, though, on this side, DC is talking to a very, very happy Brandon Royval right now.
I want to know where Royval got his haircut. Barbers aren't opening up in my city until Tuesday, I think, next Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday for you? Because I saw LA.
They're doing like soft opens, I guess, on Tuesday with like, I don't know what's happening. I'm probably just going to try and cut my own hair.
Oof. I mean, you can. You have a decently shaped head, so it's pretty
easy.
I
have the summertime off anyway. If I fuck it up, like, no one's going to see it.
Interesting. Yeah, I saw that replay of him trying to go up for that defense. The hard part is it was just kind of like he put up both legs, and you can't really defend with both of those legs. You kind of have to choose one of the legs to put it through. Trying to go through both doesn't make any sense.
Let's see who's winning my pool. Someone had Royval round 2 submission. Oh, actually 3 people had round 2 submission. So we got Troy Shea in the lead with 5 points, tied with Timothy Gonzalez, also has 5 points.
5 points between the two of them. Night is very early, so who knows exactly how that is going to shake out.
Yeah. I am not in the lead. I only have 2 points.
Well, how did you get your 2 points? Did you just pick the right people for 2 of them?
Yeah, I had the last 2 correct, but I picked decisions because, like I said, I thought there was going to be a lot of decisions tonight, but apparently we're getting 3 finishes so far. So
3 finishes in a row. Nobody's going to complain about that except for maybe you?
Except maybe me, yeah. But I did bet on Royval, so I'm not complaining too much.
To be fair, the last 2 wins for Royval were submission wins. And he said that he was hoping for 50K. At the very least, he has a submission, but he picked it on a night where there were other 2 stoppages already earlier in the night. So 2 finishes means that we also have to cheers this gentleman in just a second. We will, but still impressive to see nonetheless.
Yeah, it was good grappling. I really have enjoyed the last couple of events. I've had some really solid grappling exchanges. Who's the hillbilly guy? Bryce Mitchell? God, that was an incredible fight. I can't wait to see him fight again.
Also, hello to Christos. We saw Christos put up a nice note to Gilbert Burns. Very nice form of sportsmanship over to say, I wish you well, buddy. So that's really good to see. Christos, I hope you're doing well, sir. Post COVID and all that, I'm going to go and pay a visit to all you guys because I haven't trained with you guys in forever. Also, super fat right now. So
I wonder how many gyms are going to shut down visitors, like people who are, jumping around and training and saying, only our team can train.
It's a big consideration that I have because one of the things I thought of was, I should go do interviews with people. And when I was trying to figure out like, what can I do? That's a little bit different. And all of a sudden I thought about it. I was like, I don't know that people are going to take visitors. I think it's going to be a while before I can actually go.
Well, I feel like, the Brazilians were already like, okay, we'll allow it, but we fucking hate this. And I feel like now they're going to be like, no, get out of here.
I don't know, man. There are also a handful of people who are like, fuck it, we don't care. And I almost think that's the shining majority of people within our sport.
You mean 10th Planet? They have built a lot of moons lately. They're all over the place.
Listen, I will tell you this, though. If any day was a sad day for 10th Planet, all of them getting excited to see this space happen today and then looking up and saying, like, yeah, that looks pretty round. Shit.
Yeah. It's all CGI, dude. It's all made in the studio.
Well, it's kind of the one where they have to pick and choose. Do you believe the Elon Musk?
I think you just dive all the way. You dive all the way in, and you're just like, this was like a simulation run by George Soros on his private island with his pizza and his child molesters, and they created this, but it's not actually real.
I think what I have to do is create a sitcom that basically allows conspiracy people to draw out their ideas And it's almost like letting a kid in an art class paint out their ideas and them going like, this is really good. It's like, he knows too much. Let's go to Daycare Island and kill these people.
Yeah, but I feel like the show would suck because most conspiracy theorists don't have their own ideas, and they just regurgitate whatever fucking YouTube video they just watched, and they're like, that makes sense. And like they don't have any like they I think the ironic thing is they call themselves free thinkers, but they all believe the same fucking things. So it's like,
I think the name of the show though would be called I've Done My Research.
I would watch that show if it was like The Odd Couple with Eddie Bravo and Andre Galval living together and raising the son that was like left to them, and Keenan Cornelius is the son. That's that like good. Their friend died and like said, hey, I need you to watch my kid, and like the two of them are raising him.
I don't leave it to one of you, I leave it to both of you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I will tell you, they have coming up next was this Kaitlyn Abreu versus. Let me just make sure I'm right on this one. No, that is not the fight that's coming up next, right? No, it's Jamal Hill versus Kaitlyn Abreu. Okay. It is interesting to see how they decked out like their rooms, because one of the things that they showed in like the background or the backdrop of these places was how they basically gave you a hotel room and made that your like training quarters for the week.
Yeah. I have a good bet for this upcoming fight.
What is the bet?
The bet is Hill scorecards no action.
Okay.
So apparently the odds makers don't think Hill can get a finish here, which is, you know, makes sense. But I mean, Kaitlyn has been finished twice, has been knocked out twice. So, I mean, the odds indicate something that I don't know, because Hill scorecards no action is plus 230. So, you know, $100 bet on Hill scorecards no action is $230 profit. So, you know, even if Hill does lose the decision, your bet is just canceled. You get your money back. But if he gets a finish, you know, you come up as a 2-1 underdog.
Dan, was there anybody in MMA that you feel has a good sense for betting? Because there are a lot of people that we talk to who say they're good at betting, but I never like double check their work. Like I don't sit there and go like, how much money have you made? But are there people that you subscribe to and that you like, that you've seen that you're like, oh yeah, they're pretty good?
I think if you can predict 60% correctly, you're doing a good thing. Like over time, like if you're in the long haul and you're doing 60%, you're making money. I feel like people do go on hot streaks and people get lucky, but I mean, I bet on every event, you know, like I'm in it for the long haul. I'm not, you know, I feel like some people will throw like $150 or $200 on a fight and win and like, oh, I made a bunch of money, which is cool. But you know, I like to throw like $20 on this fight. And then, you know, in between rounds, I think my guy's up, I might throw a little bit more on him. It's more like smaller increments and going for the long game. But back to your question, as far as like MMA guys, I don't know any of them that are great at predicting fights. We had Chad Skelly actually did decent in one of our prediction pools last month. He didn't place top 3, but he was up in the top 10, I think. Okay. But I feel like with predicting any kind of sport, there's so many intangibles. Even if you're a fighter, like I don't think it gives you that much of an edge. You know what I mean? Yeah. Unless you have some like kind of inside information about like, you know, this guy has, you know, a sore knee in training, like that kind of stuff, obviously. But just being a fighter, I don't think it gives you an edge in far picking correct fights.
Yeah.
I'm actually I'm in a fighter pool that's an annual thing. We pay $50 a year and we pick the winner of every main event for the entire year. And last year I took second. I lost by 1 point to Adam Wheeler, who's a black belt out of Colorado. And I think the guy who took third was a baseball coach. And wow. I think, yeah, and you know, I'm a social studies teacher. And I think in this year right now, I'm in first place. And I think Adam's in second. And I think the baseball teachers and baseball coaches in third. So it's like, it's not always about what you do. It's just like how much time do you watch, how much time you spend watching fights, how much stuff do you research, and I think that's where you get the edge.
That, but I would also point out that baseball coaches tend to be heavy stats nerds. Like of all the sports,
yeah, that's true.
Me that it was a baseball guy, I'd be like, this guy's a card counter. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I think one of the mistakes people do make is betting on emotion, and especially like in the circles that we're in, betting on fighters just because you like them or because they're your buddy or whatever. But stats are always the better way to go.
Yeah, that is the hardest thing to teach people. It's like tonight. I mean, that's kind of why I like knowing some of these fighters that are in tonight, but I also like it for this perspective of, I could probably interview them. Yeah, I don't want to say who's going to win because if I get that wrong, they're not going to do the interview. So,
I hope both of them. I hope both of them win, but I hope the one that wins gets me money.
Exactly. I mean, here's the good news. I would say we put up a number of the clips over the past couple of weeks, and everybody that we put up that you bet against or that you said something about betting against them all responded in great spirits. All of them had a good laugh at their expense because they were just like, I totally understand it. Yeah.
I'm going to bet on Hill in this fight. I like the line. I think there's a lot of good action there. Heads up, he's only minus 150. He's a slight favorite heads up, which really doesn't make sense. That scorecard's no action. He's a 2-1 underdog. So I feel like there's some kind of mistake there. They just really don't think he's going to finish this fight.
Okay.
But yeah, those are oftentimes my favorite bets because they're so low risk. I mean, as long as Hill doesn't get finished, I either make money or I get my money back.
I mean, I feel
and then as soon as I say that, he gets knocked out. But
I mean, I feel like you were trying to give a signal to the audience while we were in the middle of commercial to make your last minute picks. I wish that I had some sort of like alarm. I really don't have that. I don't have like air horns or anything yet, but we will get like a flash light bulb of some sort to let people know, all hands on deck. You want to bet on this fight.
Yeah, this is one of the most interesting values on the card. I think green is another one that's undervalued.
Absolutely.
Making green a 3-1 underdog is definitely a screw up on the odds makers' part. There's plenty of value there. I'm surprised at how little Dern is being valued in this fight. Because I mean, I guess it's because she had that poor performance last time out, but not last time, this 2 times out ago. But she's usually a much heavier favorite, and she's coming in not so heavy today. I just realized, though, I'm looking at my bets, and I accidentally bet on Hennessy first.
Interesting. Let me go ahead and tell you guys this. If you're watching on the Instagram right now, this is about to die. So that means with 1 minute and 46 seconds, you have the ability to go on over to any of the other Grappling Hour channels, be it Grappling Hour on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or Periscope. And you can continue seeing it because it is going to end here. So I invite you guys to go ahead and follow us over that way. If not, I don't think Dan's going to be sad, but you'll be sad that you missed out on his betting favorites because I wouldn't want to miss that if I was trying to figure out how to bet in between fights. I think that's a stupid thing to miss. So go on over at Grappling Hour Facebook, at Grappling Hour YouTube, and the same for Twitch or Periscope. That's what I got for you guys going on over on Instagram. We appreciate you guys watching. We hope you liked it. And Dan, do you have anything left to say to the folks on Instagram?
No, just switch over to one of those platforms and hopefully make some money.
Easy enough. And you're going to see Jamal Hill coming up in just a second if you do. All right, bye, everybody. Go watch over on the other ones. All right, share to. This is an interesting thing that's happening now, Dan, and I don't know if you know this, but it now is giving you the opportunity to save and share. Dane Donovan, no you rock, the Instagram lives. Before you would do them and they're lost to the win, but now you can actually
you can save them to your story for a day, I think, right? Or can you just or just post it to your feed?
I think it's for life.
Oh.
I think it's in there forever now. So
yeah, that's a new thing. I never go live, so I've never seen that.
For life is what it is. Yeah, no, I know. The worst part is, Dan, is I would do interviews with people and then they would just disappear after a day. And there's nothing more you hate than doing an interview with somebody just because you're like, I guess we'll do it for our Instagram fans. And then a week later it's gone and you go, why the fuck am I even doing that?
What does Hill's chest tattoo say? Are you seeing this?
I'm behind you again, probably 20 seconds. So I'm looking to see what it might be.
It's been up for a little while. You're going to get plenty of it.
All right,
2 thumbs up with something in the middle. I can't tell what's in the middle, though.
I can't tell. I just want to say, let's just say it says Morris Day. That's what I'm going to hope it says. Because it's definitely 2 thumbs up. And unless it's 2 thumbs up with Roger and Ebert, I don't really know that there's...
I guess maybe if it's like mom's name or something. I just don't know what it could be that I wouldn't want to make fun of.
Listen, that's fair. I really wanted to stick the landing on that one, but I'm laughing at the absurdity of being like, hey bro, what do you want tattooed? No, I'm not asking what you think of my work. What do you want tattooed? Really, bro? All right, it's a choice.
It's combos because he's throwing some heat already.
Okay. Ooh. Listen, dude, I'm so glad that I don't fight MMA for the main reason of I don't think that I would respond well to getting kneed in the face. I think there's a lot of things grappling wise that I'd be able to live with, but I think even getting punched has to suck, but I at least expect it. The knee to the face is one where I go, no.
Well, and getting kneed in the face by someone who looks like he is not at all threatened of your existence whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Like the way Hill fights, he's just like, I'm gonna beat this Brazilian kid up real quick and go, go put 2 thumbs up and hang out. But he fights like he's super lackadaisical, but then he explodes with these huge power combos. It's crazy. He did the same thing on the Contender series where it looked like he was just bored in there, but all of a sudden he comes out with some crazy shit.
Well, I am intrigued to see how this goes because whenever somebody wears the yellow trunks and you go, yeah, they're definitely from Brazil, I just always have flashbacks to the international versions of The Ultimate Fighter. So I always feel like, oh, where are their coach? Where's Vanderlei and where's Verdum and all these other guys who are supposed to be here to coach him?
So I'm going to wait 10 seconds before I say this.
Oh, no.
And okay. I'm going to now say, if you took my advice, Hill, scorecards no action plus 230, you just made a lot of money. Because that was the most screwed up line on the entire card. It made no sense because scorecards no action plus 230 implies that you don't think this guy can finish, and very clearly he can finish. So
wow, that was dope to see. You know what though? I will say the only thing that's slightly disappointing about that finish, Dan, and I don't know if you feel it too, but when you saw Abreu get knocked down after getting the knee to his stomach, he had that look on his face, the food didn't sit well with him kind of look, oh fuck, oh what did I eat, kind of look. That was rough. That knee was perfect. Well, you know what, Dan, I'm gonna let you cheers because I feel like you get to take a victory lap on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I always hesitate to call my shot because I'm like, oh fuck, what if I'm wrong? But this was the one instance on this card where I'm they fucked up on this. The odds are screwed up. You should definitely bet on this. And I'd feel bad if we lost, but I was pretty confident. And so thank you to Hill for not making me look like an idiot on the internet, which I'm perfectly capable of doing on my own. So cheers to you.
Cheers. Look at that. Boom. Good Lord, man. Oh my God. Yeah, that was pretty solid. Hey, listen, 4 for 4 finishes so far. This is pretty good, Dan.
Yeah, it sucks because I predicted a finish in this fight, but I thought it would be round 2. So I did not get that point. I did get the point for the TKO, though. So Dan, I now have 4 points.
Dan, minor problems. You were able to tell us that there was going to be money to be made here, and you were right, sir. So, Stick on that. Don't
Oh
stick
yeah,
on
and I made more money betting on Hill, online than I ever would by even winning this pool. But I still won't win everything. I'm not okay with not winning. So the pool money is still something I'm very much after. But I am not in the lead. Troy Shea, Tim Gonzalez, 6 points each. They are tied for the lead.
What is the pettiest that you've ever felt in losing one of these pools?
I'm always petty. To be honest, I'm always petty. Anytime someone is better than me, I can't handle it well. Like I'll do my best to be like, "Hey, good game," like whatever. But like as far as like sportsmanships go, it's like never a skill I've been very good at. It's always been like I'll smile. Like, do you watch those Nuwaza technique videos back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Remember the ultimate back take?
Mm-hmm.
That level of pettiness is something that I can relate to. Like you got to go home and ruin the guy's life, and take out lines of credit in his name and like that kind of stuff. Like that's how I feel. I don't act on those emotions, but that's how I feel.
I would say that I was taught good sportsmanship as a kid, so I was able to kind of roll with the punches. I feel like the pettiness that I have is always like if I don't respect it. So like it's different if it's like, man, that was the best thing I've ever seen. Oh my God, that was amazing. Dude, congrats to you. If it's some bullshit that just happened that I feel is a fluke, I'm always like, good job. I guess good job. I mean,
his tattoo says North Side.
No.
Yeah, it's North Side.
Well, I'm glad we were able to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah. Look at the hands, man. I feel like professional athletes should have the best tattoos because like their bodies are constantly on display and they typically have money. I know it's not true so much with like MMA all the time, but like you ever see like these NBA guys and these guys who are making millions of dollars every season and they have like jail tattoos and like shit that it looks like it was done in a kitchen. Like if your body's constantly on display, if like that's how you make your money, why would you like not spend more money on a tattoo?
So all I can think about is he had some guy come over and they just kind of traced it because that straight out looks like something that you write on a cocktail napkin and you go drunk somewhere and you go, make that on this. And they go, are you sure? Yeah.
Like are those hands wearing gloves or are they not? Like you can't tell.
It's just so great because like you're not supposed to be able to see the lines of like
and like exactly, and like Brock Lesnar when he got that sword in the middle of his chest, he had so much money at that point in his career. Yeah. He was already rich, and he got that.
Well, the best part of the Brock Lesnar one is that not only did they put that on him, but then once he made the grenade and people were like, yo, that looks like a penis, dude. And he's like, no, it's not. I'm Brock Lesnar. And they're like, it looks like a penis, dude. And he's like, no, I'm Brock Lesnar. And so the best way he thought was to make it look better is to add a sword, which everyone said, yeah, okay, still looks like a penis, maybe worse now.
Yeah, I guess being rich can't solve all your problems.
Hey,
bad taste. I guess, yeah.
People definitely still have issues and problems being rich. Dan, are you still laughing at the fact that we had somebody put in like a plug for free fights on this show? And I got mad as if I was going to delete it. I was like, I'm not going to delete it. It's just, bro, what the fuck, man?
I mean, I guess however you can get your hustle. And what's he run? Like some kind of website or something trying to get viewers, or what does he do?
His issue is that he doesn't like the fact that you got to pay this paywall to watch it on ESPN Plus, dude.
Oh, so he's like a revolutionary pirater? Yeah. Like he's doing it for the people?
He says he does it for every event.
But he's not profiting in any kind of way?
I don't know, probably.
There's no website or something he's promoting?
Well, fun story is now Facebook and Instagram are instituting ways that you can do some profit margining off of that. So I don't know, man. I don't know his business. I think he's just doing it for the culture and the people. Wink. But Submission Underground just got a nice little plug there. Did you see that?
I did not. I'm watching old highlights of Burns.
Well, let me see if I can.
He's not a child in these ones, though. He's on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm exiting out of it. I'm looking to see if I press it right now, if it maybe updates me. The only thing that gives me slight pause was earlier tonight. It did make me do an update on my ESPN app, and that really weirded me out. I was like, why do I need to do an update, dude? Like, it's so weird.
I just got this new TV from Costco, and it has like the ESPN Plus app on it, which is like game changing for me because I used to have to like cast it from my phone to the Chromecast, and there were more delays, and so having it like directly on the TV is something I'm really excited about.
It's, I'm sure, super blissful. I like seeing all these Gilbert Burns highlights. All of these arm bars are so sick, dude.
Yeah, I wish I would see him more in submission underground, grappling competition stuff too. Because I like to watch him fight, but I prefer to watch him grapple because he has such great scrambles and stuff. Even those short scrambles with Damian Maia were so fun to watch. So I'd really like to see him do more grappling competitions. But I guess if he's winning in MMA, making more money in MMA, it's probably not going to happen.
I mean, woulda, coulda, shoulda. The hardest part with him is he does look like those people. And I was talking with somebody about this week, and I said the thing that I am appreciating about a little bit more of the modern time is you get the sense that athletes in jiu-jitsu will be able to make decisions more and more now on if they actually want to fight MMA as opposed to I have to fight MMA to make some money.
Yeah, I mean, Gordon Ryan's a prime example of making money in jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's a possibility. I do think there's the very few people who are doing well just off jiu-jitsu. But I mean, you need to start somewhere. So, I do like all the businesses that are being created as a result of some of this stuff. I like the online instructional stuff like that. I like the whole COVID thing will only contribute to that. I really love seeing recently I've seen this trend where black belts are offering to teach a class on Zoom to another gym if that black belt will teach their kids and kind of exchanging techniques. I love that idea. Yeah, I think there's a lot of cool stuff happening in jiu-jitsu, and I think there's a lot of opportunity. None of which I want to be involved in whatsoever because jiu-jitsu is like a shit show as far as like that kind of stuff goes. But there's opportunity.
Jiu-jitsu is the world's best sports version of a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
It's like, no, bro, you come, bring two of your friends, and dude, things are gonna be cool, man. We're all just gonna be cool. Everybody's gonna make money, man.
Yeah, I think some of the jiu-jitsu cult-like behaviors are just so disgusting to me. When I first started training, I used to kind of buy into some of the stuff, but now as like someone I started jiu-jitsu in 2006, so as someone who's been around jiu-jitsu for more than a decade, I'm just so sick of some of the bullshit. Even the stuff like recently, we're talking about police need to train jiu-jitsu. Like jiu-jitsu doesn't make you a fucking better person. Like I don't care, how many Brazilians have told you that in your life that it makes you a better person. It doesn't. If you're a shitty person who trains, you're gonna be a shitty person who knows how to hurt people.
Bro, jiu-jitsu no make you racist, bro. No, bro. Like,
it's insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, here's the weird part. I feel like it conflates issues where you just kind of go like, yes, I think as a general practice, it is smarter to have police officers train jiu-jitsu that helps them to de-escalate certain situations that can go sideways. Absolutely. Would that have stopped this one in particular? Hard to say because it's entirely possible.
That's hard to say at all. Fuck no, it wouldn't. Of course not. Like, yeah, no care in the world about killing that man. It's knowing jiu-jitsu is not gonna. It's just gonna make him more effective. So I can't stand that. I've been unfollowing people on Facebook all week who are like, oh, I'll offer to teach these cops jujitsu. Well, why? So they can kill more black men? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's my biggest concern on this whole thing is seeing people have more avenues to being like, oh, cool. Is that how you snap a neck? Dope. Good to know. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and it's like, is it, are you doing this out of, concern for humankind? Are you doing this to promote your gym? Are you, like, there's a lot of, social media is a shit show.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been truly proud of everybody on the way that they act. I have said this, though. I have said consistently, like, pre or post pandemic, at the very least, try to consider how you think you are and how you want people to perceive you, if that is important to you, after the pandemic. Like, the way you conduct yourself now should be the way you conduct yourself after the pandemic. I just know we're going to see people go back to looking like normal assholes, just being like, oh, yeah, no, I was fine. No, it's cool. It was weird. It was a weird time. But, like, people won't forget a lot of these things. I just know that people have done me the favor of showing me their hand as a shitty person. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Now I know you're kind of a shit show. Good to know.
Yeah. And I think when we're engaging with people in real life, person to person, it's easier to excuse, some of their shortcomings because they might have a charming character, or they might be good with words, or, you have a history of experiences with this person or whatever, and you kind of forgive the subtleties that make them a shitty person. But I think, like, when you're not person to person, when you're online and all you have to do is read the bullshit they come up with, like, you don't do that, and you're just like, wow, this person sucks,
I will say I just saw like a slight peek at the Facebook translator for closed captioning right now. And when I said shit show, it just put up a bunch of question marks. Like, I don't know what this guy's saying. So nothing has made me laugh more today than seeing Facebook give up on trying to get around some cursing. But yes, Daniel Rodriguez was in there a couple weeks ago. He trains all over with the guys who are at the Bad Motherfucker Ranch, aka Donald Cerrone's crew. So that's Joe Schilling, Cerrone, their host of cronies. But as they're showing right now, at least on my end, you saw this maybe a few seconds ago, just his awesome submission earlier through the pandemic. So, I think that this is going to be a fight. If you guys are looking for a good fight to watch,
Means fight.
Yeah, I think, yes, that was Tim Means and him. Yeah. If you guys are looking for a good fight, it is coming up next. And I cannot say enough on this. Dan has already highlighted the low uphill value that you can get from one Gabe Green. But I'm just letting you guys know.
I'm going to give another tip, too. Another tip. So I'm looking at the lines. They're moving a bit.
Okay.
But they have Green plus 3.5 points.
Okay.
As still an underdog, 2-1. So if it goes to decision and Green loses 29-28, 29-28, 29-28, your bet still wins. He has to lose by more than 3 points.
Okay.
So that's a decent bet. It's plus 190 right now. So you're basically getting 2-1 odds. You throw $50 on it, you'll make $100. And all he has to do is not get absolutely destroyed.
Which, all things considered, I mean, that's the hardest part is Daniel Rodriguez is quite a good fighter. I had a few of my friends being like, yo, D-Rod's got this, no problem. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Have you seen Gabe Green fight?
Yeah.
The thing that speaks well for Daniel Rodriguez is he's a finisher, but so is Gabe. So for me, I just have hesitancy in terms of, I don't know how that's going to go either way on my side.
Yeah, I'll throw $25 on Green just to can't ignore the value there. Especially if you're going to get the points, like can't give me the points and still make him the other underdog. Typically, when they give you the points, that changes the odds.
Oh, speaking of which, we did not do a Jamal Hill cheers. I don't believe.
I think we did. We said, did we? Because he made me not look like an idiot.
Oh, okay.
I told him to bet him, yeah.
I'm just double checking here. I always like to double check the work. We did 1-1. Tim Elliott and Jamal Hill. Okay, cool. Yes, you did do that one. All right, then we're good.
So I am now 3 in a row. Okay. This would make 4. I'm overdue for a loss, but I feel like this is not a bet I'm making because I'm super confident that Green's going to win. But it's a bet I'm making because I feel like the value in the bet is just too good to ignore.
It's fair. I think people respect your honesty, Dan, and I think they like the fact that you're putting your money where your mouth is. So you're actually betting on it live time with them, so they can see how it goes, and they're together with you on it.
Yeah, I gotta post it. Let me post a screenshot because I did lose on Morales, but I'm doing okay. So,
think for a split second, though, I would caution this, though, Dan. I've always been curious. I asked you what it's like if you're petty. Is there ever been a fighter that you've just held a grudge against because it just went sideways?
Greg Hardy, fuck Greg Hardy. No, not because of a bet, just fuck Greg Hardy. In every single fight he's in, I will bet against him. I don't care who he's fighting. Fuck Greg Hardy.
Okay. I'm not against that one either, so I'm kind of with you on that one. All right, I'm excited for this fight. And then also, after this fight, it's the Shevchenko fight.
Yeah, so that's going to end the prelims. I think that's the last one.
That's the last one for the prelims, and then we go to the main card. So
I like that fight.
Yeah, I do too. It's very weird. Go ahead.
Do you think if blonde fighter wins, that Big Sister's going to come back and ask for another fight?
Absolutely. Yes. Gifted Gabe Green, man. I'll tell you this much, dude. The fight with him and one Rich Leroy. One of the reasons why it was so tough for me was the good folks over at Luda Gear, who are friends and sponsors of the show formerly. They were rooting for Gabe Green, and I was like, I don't really know him, but I'm rooting for my boy Rich Leroy. I have nothing against him. We're at these fights, and it's a good fight. Gabe ends up winning by knockout. It's amazing. But what I really appreciated was, like, he was so nice to Rich in defeat. He went out of his way to check he was good. Rich was like, dude, I don't want to lose, but obviously if you're going to lose, you want to lose to somebody that nice. And Gabe was like, dude, I look up to Rich. He's amazing. That was such an honor to be able to fight him. And afterwards, I was just like, dude, I can't believe that you're this good of a person. He's like, yeah. He's like, I just kind of, that's the way I fight, man. It's just who I am. So seeing him get the call up,
better sportsmanship than I do.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would tell you this. I don't know how you would respond during fight week to this scenario, but according to Rich, when the two of them went to go fight each other, when Gabe Green made it to the scales for weigh-ins, he basically said, hey, man, do you want the rest of this protein cookie? And Rich was like, oh, that's really nice, dude. Dude, he's so cool.
I don't know if I would have taken that cookie. Yeah.
I mean, of course. I think it was actually still wrapped. But
well, if it was Rodriguez, one of those 10th Planet guys offering me a cookie, I'd be like, fuck no.
That's fair. Rodriguez is the 10th Planet guys will 100% give you a cookie that I don't think they're necessarily lacing, but just might be extra plus to them.
They're all weed. It's not lacing at that point. It's just like weed. It's weed laced with cookies. Yeah.
It is definitely a weed featuring cookie situation. But yeah, I mean, and the weirdest part to me is I keep thinking in my head, I'm like, have Dan and I crossed paths? Because I recognized him from fights before, and I've reached out to him for an interview, and it just hasn't happened yet. But he's somebody that I'm like, have we been at the same place? Have we trained together? Because the hard part about living in LA when you go to like 10th Planet is you run into a million people.
Yeah, they always have so many people on the mats.
It's impossible to try and keep track of everybody that you think may or may not be there. So that is one of the things that I've learned to kind of take into consideration as I've gone to visit the 10P for L.
Man, they're all over the place now too. It's crazy. Some of these guys are doing so well. I mean, pre-COVID, but like opening up so many locations and pretty much everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, but
dude, the new Gracie Baja, like they got these little satellites everywhere.
I'll tell you this much. I don't know how much they're going to love being called the new Gracie Baja, but I applaud you for saying it nonetheless. Yeah, dude, I mean, it's just good to see 10th Planet doing their thing. And I'm still freaked out by the fact that they're international. That's the thing that
Yeah.
makes me go, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's cool to see the guys like Casey Halstead and like, the guys from this little, jiu-jitsu circle here in Southern California blowing up and doing well and opening multiple locations. And
yeah, I'm stoked on that. All right. So you are locked in on your bet, correct, sir, right?
yes, I am. Yeah.
All right. You should be coming back up, I'm sure, right now.
Yep, I got tail of the tape, and I got Green with the plus 3.5 points at plus 190.
Nice.
I got Green straight up money line, so he has to win at plus 310. So he all the late money came in on Rodriguez, making Green a bigger underdog.
Interesting. Okay. I was curious to see if what's his face made his way out there. I wasn't sure if they actually had an appearance from one Donald Cerrone making it out there, but I don't think he did.
Yeah, it's hard to tell who's in the corners too. I can't even.
Yeah,
tell
I know. I do believe
corner.
it is Schilling out there in the corner, but given everybody's face masks, it's also kind of hard to read that exactly from this point. It is also hard to see who's in Gabe's corner, so I don't exactly know.
I'd say so far Rodriguez has the best tattoos on this card.
I would agree. That's the fun part of this is like, because it's been a while, I'm like, did you get, I think yeah, that's right. He did get more tattoos since the last fight. See, that's good money on your tattoo return. If I'm saying, where do you want to get a recommendation from? You go to him. You definitely are not going to Jamal Hill.
Yeah. He should slip a business card to Hill after the fight.
Be like, yo, bro, you got this guy out in LA. Go to him.
Well, I did watch that, not just watch, but I watched that Netflix special on Cartoon, Mr. Cartoon, not long ago. That was pretty neat to see how many people have been tattooed by him. I had no idea that all the celebrities had cartoon tattoos.
Nice. Seeing very early on Rodriguez try to pepper up Green, just a series of kind of like almost shadow boxing kind of punches at his way.
Yeah.
Of course, Rodriguez in the white trunks, Green over in the darker trunks. Of course, as Dan put out a little bit earlier and let you guys know, if you're confused on who is who, still look for the person with tattoos. That's going to be Daniel Rodriguez, as well as answering any questions on if you think that guy belongs to 10th Planet or not.
You can also say Green is the one with the abs.
Wow, that's rude.
Yeah. He's got impressive abs for a guy who took a fight on a week's notice.
Ah, dude, that's what I saw him like hitting a bag maybe a few days before they announced it, and I was like, oh, he looks like in good shape. And then I realized, I was like, dude, aren't you supposed to be on a layoff? Like, I know you always want to stay ready, but holy shit. Nice overhead kick by one Gabe Green over on this. I mean, pretty tepid. I think both of them kind of, in the time that they were supposed to have fought previously, have some familiarity with each other's styles. And just to let you know, one of the injuries, or I believe the main injury that Gabe Green had, was his hands. Apparently, I think he ended up getting surgery on one of them after the Leroy fight.
I'm still interested in seeing if Rodriguez wins this fight. I'd still want to see him against Holland.
Yeah, that was the fight that was supposed to happen here. It would have been fun to see. And both of them coming off very quick turnarounds. Like, that's how you know. Like, that's what I've been wondering on this whole COVID situation, on people who are volunteering. Because to me, when I saw that Holland was making a return back, like, after it was only like 3 weeks to come fight again, and then knowing that Rodriguez had recently had a fight as well, I was like, holy fuck, well, how deep is Dana's bench right now?
I think the bench is probably just not deep of fighters who want to, who are even capable of traveling for a fight right now, you know?
Yeah.
So So if you're a fighter who can get to Apex, I think you have more money making opportunities than everyone else right now.
Absolutely. And the other thing is like, seeing people like Smolka and all these other people who have relations with the UFC just probably offering him, being like, just put me in there, dude. Like, I don't fucking care right now. COVID or not, just fucking give me a fight. Right now, you've seen Daniel Rodriguez be the aggressor in the first few minutes of this, just in terms of trying to control the center. And Dan, can you speak a little bit on this? Because I know that a lot of people are still talking about octagon control, but that's not really brought into the decisions for the scorecards these days.
I mean, it's supposed to be, but I don't feel like it ever really is, because I would argue, I'm at 1 minute and 4 seconds left, that Green has been more active. And even though he's been, he's been walking backwards, he's been firing more often. Mm-hmm. And I'd say if I was the judge, I'd say he's winning this round. I'd like to see what the stats say after this, but I'd say Green is winning it. I mean, the first minute and a half looked like Rodriguez was winning the round, and then Green picked up his pace, and he's just biting down on his mouthpiece and plodding forward and backwards. He's moving.
The interesting thing about Dan's approach is he's just trying to continuously almost gauge the distance. So it almost looks like there are more strikes at times, whereas Gabe is connected a few times. The thing that's difficult for me is where do you go? Do you go on initiating the attack, or do you go on being able to counter the attack and having a high percentage off of that? And so sometimes it's very weird whenever you get to that, who is controlling the octagon, because that's some sort of weird criteria that says oh, well, he was walking in the center, so therefore he wins. Yeah,
I feel like octagon control should be defined in a very specific manner. I feel like octagon control matters more when, if I'm able to pin you against the cage and control where the fight takes place, and now it's in the clinch because I put you there, that's octagon control. That's fight changing. That's important. Whereas if one person's walking forward and the other person's walking backwards, but they're both firing strikes, I don't think that type of control matters as much.
Goddamn. You get to the end of the round and Gabe Green goes over with a smiling face to go ahead and give some props on over to Daniel Rodriguez. That guy can't shake how good of a sportsman he is. I don't know that even with me being as nice as I like to think I am, that I would do that at that moment.
Yeah. I don't want to shake anyone's who's me in the face.
All right. Are you feeling good about your pick right now? Do you feel like you made the right decision so far in?
So I'm feeling good about the pick. I think that was a Green round. But I was not paying attention at the beginning. I don't know who the judges are, and some of them suck. So we'll see.
It's a shaky round, in my opinion. Yeah. I'm really trying to take out my bias on any part of this. So to me, that's always where I'm like, dude, I don't want to say what I'm seeing with the intention of oh yeah, he's definitely winning. But
yeah, I mean, you could give that round to either guy. There's no wrong answer there.
Yeah.
And I just downloaded that Verdict MMA app. Let's see who they give it to.
Okay. Ooh. Dan with a nice pop-up at that beginning. Coming out a little bit more aggressive. You can only imagine if Schilling is there, and I believe he is, it's probably giving him an instruction of being like, dude, you need to be a little bit more assertive in this.
Well, Verdict MMA only has the main card, so we cannot see what the people think.
I mean, what's the point of that unless we're going to do the whole thing? I don't want to know just one fight. I'm here for a long time, Verdict.
Well, it has all five of the main card.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
If you're on,
I love the prelims. Yeah, the prelims are great. I like to watch every single fight. I feel like some of these guys on the prelims fight harder because they have more to prove.
Well, the reason why you watch the prelims is so that you know in the future you're never hidden off guard when somebody's like, I never saw them coming. It's like they've been on 5 different pre-cards before. Over here ahead, legs kicks. Rodriguez is actually ahead over by Green. So 28-7-11 even on the midsection, and it does look like Green maybe has a little bit of an edge on the lower section kicks for the beginning of the fight. So yeah, that's what makes me a little bit kind of uncertain in terms of who won that first round. over there.
But again, let's say one Green does win a round. As long as Green wins a round, then your plus 3.5 bet is solid.
Agree. Although one thing that is interesting in seeing how Green fights is you push him up against a little bit of you give him a little bit to work off of against. He does get a little bit madder, so he is going to come back a little bit angry, and he is pressing forward, even as you've got Daniel Rodriguez putting an onslaught of punches against him right now. He's really just trying to pin him up against this cage right now, and is taking a little bit of punches in doing so. That was the other thing somebody tried to tell me. They're like, Daniel Rodriguez is just on another level, and I was like, yeah, except for Gabe is fucking tough as shit, dude. Like, I've seen him in some wars, though, especially after getting to know him a little bit. I was like, well, let me go see before I interview him some of his other fights just to be, oh, yeah, no, he's solid, dude.
Well, I think as we reach, or at least as I reach the middle point of round 2, Green looks like the fresher fighter.
Where are you at right now?
I'm at 2 minutes. I just hit 2 minutes.
You're 2 minutes. Okay, I'm still like 20 seconds behind you. I don't know why the
fuck. I got. From what I'm seeing, Rodriguez is walking around breathing with his mouth open. Green looks like he's still advancing. He's still, he's getting hit with some shots, but he's moving and doesn't look like he's slowing down.
And if you guys are just joining us, you have a hell of a fight that you are missing if you are not watching. It is 2 minutes left on my clock, probably 1:40 left over on Dan's, but it is Gabe Green versus Daniel Rodriguez. It is a hell of a fight so far. Just the aggressiveness by Daniel Rodriguez as well. I do see a little bit more what you're saying about D-Rod having his mouth open a little bit more agape in this, but at the same point, like, this is definitely going to be anyone's fights. Both of them are just kind of hobbling around at this point.
I think if Green would grow his hair out, he would give me Clay Guida vibes.
Hey, yeah.
Like moving like a mad.
Have you seen him with this long hair? He's had long hair. He has crazy long hair as well. So that's one of the interesting things to see about him. One thing that I would say on this for Daniel Rodriguez, though, is, he's definitely getting a little bit more return for his buck on any punch that he's coming out now. He's getting a little bit more challenged. And I think that is fun to see. Two of them pummel. They come right back over to the center. 50 seconds left to go on my clock. Yeah, I'm enjoying this.
If you're the judge that values advancing, Green has done more of that in this round.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those weird situations. You could potentially have D-Rod up 2 rounds. But now, all right. I see you, Gabe Green. I don't know, man. This is close, but I like it. Nice return there. Seems to be stunning Green just ever so often with these punches, though. The one thing that I will say is mid-round, I was going to try and comment on, but I think he's corrected it since, was just the way that Gabe was pushing him a little bit earlier. You did see Daniel Rodriguez being a little less accurate. And so that, to me, always is a slight pause for concern when I see him, when I go, oh, shit, dude. He's throwing him a little bit off of his game. All right, I'm at commercial now. Just as a reminder, if you guys are tuning in, thank you so much for watching. Myself, Daniel Rodriguez, right now watching Daniel Rodriguez and Gabe Green as they are fighting on ESPN. A whole bunch of other fights coming in a little bit later. However, Dan Hubler, again, I asked you this in between rounds last time. You still feeling good on your bet?
Yeah, I'm not as good, but I'm feeling good that I have the 3.5 points, as long as having those points is making me feel a little bit better.
I mean,
because it's a close fight.
That's what I'm saying. At the very least, do you feel entertained still when it's a close fight, even if you bet the opposite way?
Yes, absolutely. Because again, these are small. $25 on this, $25 on that. They're not. I'm not betting the mortgage, but it's still fun.
Good. Because that's when we know that you might have a problem, is if you get to a certain point. You go,
I need a line of credit taken out.
It's not looking so good for Gil, Raph. 450 for me, probably 430 for him. D-Rod coming out again, swinging. If there were corrections to be made, I do wonder what they would be. Ooh, Gabe Green.
Green's coming out. He's coming out aggressive, man. Like
I like that.
His corner probably told him he's down and he needs this round because he's coming out like he knows Dan Hubler needs a round.
These are where sometimes some of these guys excel, though, man. They know, like, fuck this noise, dude. I am not going to lose a fight like this. And I think this could have happened out here locally in California, but instead it is for all of your viewing pleasure. I believe maybe they were trying to match them up out here at CXF, or which is now known as Lights Out Extreme Fighting. But it's hard to say if that would have been made. I know the UFC had been trying to offer, as you mentioned as well, Dan, Gabe Green some fights that he just kind of passed up and said, hey, man, let me go ahead and try and get some recovering in. And we're seeing just an exchange of punches and kicks that like aren't even their full capacity. I heard Dan react to one, so I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, there's a nasty left hand that it would have put a lesser man down, but Rodriguez wore it like a champ.
Ooh, yeah, I saw that now.
Yeah.
That looks awesome. And he just fucking ate that shit. Like, not at all flinched, not at all affected by it.
Yeah, and Green's just throwing bombs now, too.
Good. Yes. Nice. I mean, right now, Rodriguez has 92 head and then 37 Green with the midsection over to 13 as well. So it's interesting to see some of these stats, though. You're seeing Daniel Rodriguez starting to wear a little bit of a crimson mask, though.
Yeah, they're both busted up at this point.
Mm.
But what I'm seeing is in these exchanges, Green is getting in there and he keeps on going, but Rodriguez, he's throwing in 1-2 shots and then he's done.
Yeah.
So I think it might be some of the fatigue setting in.
Maybe. And man, that is where the scorecard makes me uneasy. For me to feel really good right now, it would be nice to see Gabe Green get a knockout, but that's going to be asking for, you know.
I would settle for a takedown. If he could get a takedown and win this round, then a 3.5 point bet's going to hit.
I'm going to tell you, as somebody who has seen him fight, I'm not sure that the takedown is in the cards. I think he is one of those guys who likes to do exactly this kind of a fight.
Well, he might get an extra 50s out of it. It's been a very competitive fight.
Absolutely, man. I mean, hey, listen, dude, if you want to win by a certain way, I'm not going to fault you for it. But like, there are definitely some other fighters that would be like, yo, get a takedown here because we can't be doing this all day. We do not want to leave this kind of a fight in the hands of the judges, because this is one of those ones that you start to get a little uneasy feel in your stomach if this does go to a decision in terms of how the judges can maybe perceive it.
Yeah, Green's getting tired too. He's throwing everything he has into those left hands.
I mean,
big overhand left.
Been there, my friend. Listen, hitting a bag is easy. Hitting a human being that punches you back equally, if not worse, is no buenos. I do not love this position with him.
Yeah, I think time is going to expire. We're going to go to the cards.
Okay.
But I do not like the late takedown.
Yeah, but this is a pretty lazy takedown.
Yeah, but some of these judges are boxing judges and they don't know shit.
That's true. I mean, hey, man, I'm going to say this. This is about as good of a fight as you can expect to go to a decision. So credit to both of these gentlemen, especially in a night that's been so far finishes where you'd like to see that momentum keep going. I'm fine with it going to a decision. And you see Daniel Rodriguez picks up Gabe Green, tells him good fight, though if you are Daniel Rodriguez, you're probably feeling somewhat confident about your chances.
Wasn't that fight supposed to be on the main card?
No, this was on the prelims.
I know. I feel like it was supposed to be on the main card. In the graphic that the UFC posted, I think it was on the main card.
I don't know that I saw it on that. I'll double check it right now. I mean, I would know. We definitely reposted it ourselves in our photo.
Yeah, I'm incorrect. It was just wrong on my pool.
I mean, you probably wanted it to be up there, and with good reason. It was pretty dope.
You know what? It was on the main card when it was planned, and they reduced it to prelims after that. Yeah.
I feel that. Well, let me say this. Hello to everybody watching on Periscope. I know that you guys are sometimes looking for an easy way to watch the fights. We're not airing the fights. We're doing a fight companion, which means obviously you're going to see myself and Dan. And hey, all things considered, could be worse. Plus, we're more engaging than Michael Bisping. So just keep that in mind as you're watching. But we appreciate you watching there. And for those of you also tuning in to YouTube, we want to say go ahead and send us some comments, concerns, hints, allegations. I want to let Dan know he is ahead of me on this, so he probably has the scorecard, but I'm listening in right now.
It is not looking good. Yeah. It was 30-27 across the board. So
like
the plus 3.5 did not hit.
I mean, it was hard. Again, I do my best to take out the bias on any part of those things. And it is very difficult for me to watch somebody who I know in there. But at the same point, I felt like Rodriguez was pretty solid in there. That's also not to diminish the great work by one gifted Gabe Green. I'd see them run this one back again. No problem.
Yeah, with a full training camp. I definitely watched it again.
But, it is what it is, my friend. Let me go ahead and say this. I'm going to share this to there. I saw your receipt. But, again, even then, we were talking about it in terms of you making a $25 bet. I feel like you got your money's worth.
Oh, yeah. So, and plus, Hill already made me plenty of money. So, I can lose the next couple and be okay.
They're going on over to the headset mic with Daniel Rodriguez. We'll hear what he has to say. And I'll give you guys some updates on what it is that I'm hearing from on his interview. Daniel Cormier is complimenting D-Rod and saying what a spectacular fight it was. And says, what does it feel like to be in a barn burner with somebody you know? He is so out of breath right now. He said he just kept coming at him. Daniel Cormier is complimenting his jab and keeping on the straightaway. I mean, this one's hard to watch in terms of an interview because I think that D-Rod is like, yo, bro, can I get maybe like 2 more minutes to catch my breath, man?
Yeah, this is, again, where another instance where the interview would be better, later on.
I think so. This is one of the ones where I'd be like, yo, let me get Laura Sanko to get you in the back instead of me.
Yeah,
right?
He looks like he's going to pass out.
I do appreciate this because even as he's saying like very normal things to be telling people, being like, yo, I just do what I do. Oh, it's a long day for Daniel Rodriguez, my friends. Woo. Oh, no. Unfortunately, Daniel Rodriguez gives a respect to someone that he knew that passed away. He said he had a friend of his that passed away yesterday, dedicates the performance to him. So, yeesh. This is going to be fucking terrible news to fucking go into a fight and be like, yeah, your friend died. Okay, well, I got to go fight right now. So, I don't really have time to process any of that shit. Talk to you guys later about it. And just to let you guys know, that was a great fight. Watch it if you didn't do so already. if you're watching this in the future, go back, stop right here, actually go watch that fight. Daniel Rodriguez and our good friend Gabe Green giving you a fun fight to watch. But coming up next, we've got Kaitlyn Chookagian and Antonina Shevchenko. This is a very interesting fight. I am very pleased to be watching this one. I don't know about you, Dan.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm interested to see if Shevchenko tries to replicate, the same game plan her sister went into this fight with and maybe go mixing some takedowns. But I just don't think she's going to do that. I think we're going to see a kickboxing match, and pretty excited.
And I think that, I'm excited for a little bit later when they do the press conferences, because Shevchenko always has, and I always judge people who are foreign, just like a split of understanding. But anytime I see her do a post presser, it's always with that moment of, oh, that's endearing. Like, that's a nice foreign way of saying something that we as Americans believe, but you're adorable.
I always hope Shevchenko loses, because I don't want to see her dance. That little
is that really the only reason you would root against her?
Well, that, and plus whoever she's cornering, I want them to lose too, because every time they throw a strike, you can hear Valentina in the corner doing that "oi, oi" every strike. If it doesn't matter if it lands or not, she's just constantly screaming. So every time she's in the corner, I hope that her sister, whoever it is, gets brutally knocked out in the first round, and I don't have to hear that, and I don't need to see the dance.
Dan, I didn't know you were going to be coming in that hot on this one. All right. Well, let me go ahead and bring something to your attention here. They brought this up a little bit earlier. I haven't had the opportunity to bring it into the broadcast yet, but I'm about to do so right now. This is an interesting factoid, and I don't know that you at home can fully see this, but I'm just going to put it up there. This is most UFC fights refereed of all time. And at the top, you have Herb Dean with 773 bouts, followed closely by John McCarthy, who has not been in the UFC for a good while at 660, followed by Mario Yamasaki, though I argue it's been a while since we've seen him for some reason. And then Dan Margariota and Mark Goodard. Do these stats mean anything to you, Dan?
I'm a little surprised by that. Okay. I'd like to see how many fights, period, not just UFC fights, because I know Herb Dean doesn't only ref UFC fights, and you see these guys all over the place. I'd be curious. I'm shocked at how many fights just UFC Herb Dean is refereed. That's insane to me. He's got to be in the several thousand altogether with all MMA, which is nuts. I wonder how many he thinks he screwed up in. That would be an interesting number. I want to know. It's like, if you've refereed thousands of MMA fights, like how many you're like, oh, I fucked that one up. Like,
I mean, to the other extent of it, some of these guys don't feel too much remorse about the way they judge fights.
He apologized for the Robbie Lawler stoppage. Like, he's my bad. I thought you were out. Like, if you have 773 UFC fights, you probably fucked up a couple of them. You know what I mean? Like,
statistically, you have to. There's no way you can't.
It just sucks when you're the Robbie Lawler in the situation.
Bro, there's no fight that I was more angry about than seeing Ben Askren win anything. Like,
I think Ben Askren's hilarious, but it would have been way more poetic if he had just been, gotten TKO'd in that fight. Because if you would have stopped the fight for a TKO off that slam and the follow punches, no one would have batted an eye. Like, yeah, good stoppage, So it would have been poetic if that happened, and then the Jorge Masvidal thing happened, and then that prediction he made about joining the UFC and getting his ass kicked twice, and, it would have been, everything would have worked out perfectly. But
I've never been more bored by a person talking than I am by their fighting style, in the way that I quite am by Ben Askren, because Ben Askren will talk and then you go, oh God, it's like the Walmart version of Chael Sonnen, and then he'll fight and you go, this is not exciting to watch. Like, people can talk about control all they want. And yeah, I can respect the man and his accomplishments in wrestling, but every time I saw him fight, I was like, yeah, I don't really want to get excited to see this next fight. So good for him. You guys can stay, but I'm leaving. And then the brain just kind of floats out. But there was nothing more enjoyable than in the first few seconds when Robbie Lawler gave him a proper entrance into the UFC, and you were like, oh shit, yes, this is great. They stop the fight, and you go, this is stupid. This should not have ended this way. Then next thing you know, we get to see Street Jesus put some true respect on the name of the UFC and knee him properly. And I was covering an LXF fight out this way, and I happened to see a clip of it. I looked down at my phone, and again, I've seen thousands upon thousands of fights, and I'm even covering fights where I normally like to keep my voice down. But at these fights, as it was going down, I literally let out a fuck yeah in the middle of the fights because I was so happy that he did that. And then he lost again. So then he was irrelevant, and now he's retired. So I feel good again.
Yeah, the Damian Maia fight was a very weird watch.
Yeah, I mean, the Damian Maia one is just kind of like, I mean, he's going to do what he's going to do. So I'm not that there. There is a little bit of sweetness just in terms of, great, it's nice to see jiu-jitsu beat simplistic wrestler. I'm not saying all wrestlers would go, but just seeing like, yeah, you kind of.
Hey, comments about to light up. Hey, what do you mean by that?
Oh,
Some guy from Missouri with the mullet. Hey, what do you mean by that?
Hey, I've qualified that perfectly. I'm not saying all wrestlers are bad. I'm just saying Ben Askren is a simplistic wrestler in terms of his strategy on how he fights. So that was very, very enjoyable to see. Let me go ahead and bring this up as well. So I'm trying to see what else is there to bring up. I didn't bring this one up from the exact same site that I had, but I'll bring it up to you right now. And this is from one Dylan Dennis, who says, I've had trouble sleeping this quarantine. Thank God Tyrone Woodley fighting tonight. Finally can get a good night's rest. Prayer hands.
But he's fighting Burns, man. I mean, like, it's not so much Woodley's fault. He's been in some boring fights. He's been in boring fights because both people were fighting boring fights. Like, you know, like the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fight, like, both of them were very passive. I think Burns is not going to be passive tonight. I think both of them are going to put on the show.
Yeah, I feel Burns really wants to try and get that elevated status here. I feel like this is a proper moment for all things to go down for him. It's just said, oh, wow, look at this. I won't show you the video, but it definitely is. Holly Berry just texted Dana White to say, Jamal Hill is fire after his first round TKO.
Yeah, and he looked bored doing it.
Yeah, well, also here it says Ariel Helwani goes, picks or it didn't happen. You sit down, Ariel. Jesus.
Yeah, Ariel is probably not the first person Dana is going to send pics to.
Yeah, that's true. If there is going to be any succession line of getting pictures, he will not be there. Oh, look at that. It does say at the very end of his fight that LA native Daniel Rodriguez shouted Kobe at the end of his UFC Vegas fight. So there is that. Good for him. Oh my God. Oh, I got to do that one as well.
Right. This fight could be really awesome or it could be really boring.
Well,
I guess we're about to find out.
Do you think it's going to be awesome or do you think it's going to be boring?
I'm going to lean on the side of awesome.
Okay. What is your reasoning for it being awesome rather than boring then?
I feel like Shevchenko will not want to like disrespect her family bloodline. Like, my sister already beat this girl up. I can't go out there and not beat her up also. So I feel like she's going to bring it more than usual.
So my laughter on this one is I don't know if you ever saw 30 Rock, but they made fun of the idea that they were going to have like football night in America, like NBC does whenever they have football. And so they have like tennis night in America, and they're like, and nothing more American than, and they have like a voiceover, versus and like the most foreign sounding names. Like every time I see Shevchenko's name, it makes me think of like, that sounds like a foreign tennis baker's name. You're saying, oh shit, I'm only if you. So it makes me very cautious on why you're saying oh shit.
This fight is not going at all the way I thought it would go.
Okay. You're talking about what I'm seeing now is a takedown, an attempt to go to a rear naked choke, which already looks valid.
It looks, yeah.
423
Man.
for me.
Where's that kickboxing match I thought we were going to see?
Yeah, that's really weird.
All that training in the Renzo Gracie basement.
I guess
on display.
I'm going to credit that one over to, what is this? She was using the Nicky Rod version of a rear naked choke here. Looks like she gets another stab at it.
She has slightly fewer muscles than Nicky Rod, though.
I mean, the Nicky Rod is like, hey, I can't open this can. He's like, don't worry, I will. Punch. Body triangle over here, but not quite the way that you would expect it to. Now it's almost going into like that can opener rear naked choke over on my side. It's 334. Dan's ahead of me on time, so he may know something I don't.
I'm at 307. Still working that choke.
Okay, so she still is continuing this choke, which is interesting because she has a good position. She's maybe a little ajar to the side. Okay. Not quite completing it. Still trying to rechamber it ever so slightly.
I don't think Shevchenko's going to tap out tonight. She's going to go out because a couple of these attempts, she's been grimacing like it's almost there, but she's not going to tap.
That's interesting to see.
She's going to get beat up by her sister if she taps out, so she's going to just take it.
I mean, yeah, she's gritting through it, and it's not pretty to see. Just in terms of like, yeah, I don't know that most people would be okay in that situation.
This is one of those situations where you don't have to hear Valentina screaming the entire fight, though.
Yes, it is quite giving you the one thing that you were conditioning on this. Do you see that little control, though, on the wrist from the inside? Almost like Khabib-ish control?
Yeah, I just passed that part.
Okay.
But yeah, these fights, especially the ones that are in these empty arenas, you just hear her even more so. Like when she fought on the Dana White Contender Series and that empty, I think it was at the Apex too, just screaming nonstop.
Now in the mount for me on my time zone, but this is a very different fight than I think many people were expecting.
I'd say this is a 10-8 round.
Yeah, this is pretty close to 10-8 if it isn't already. Oh, that's a weird sort of like series of barraged punches that you almost feel that you're getting absorbed by the shoulder rather even than the head.
Koochigian's riding kind of high. I don't know if like her intention is to ride high and go for the armbar or what in the last couple part of the round, but she's riding pretty high.
Couldn't tell you on this one.
Oh, she settled back now.
Eek. This is a lot of time to be in this position. This is not fun if you're used to any form of grappling. Like
it's almost a full round.
Yeah, it's almost a full round, but anytime I'm in like a grappling round and I'm this person, I'm pretty happy when the bell rings to be like, thank God, dude.
Yeah, well, you start to just like appreciate the little victories. Like, oh, their arm across my face didn't choke me out this time, but you're still in a shitty situation. Like,
yeah. Well, it's also like taking your minor victories on being like, well, I can still breathe. And
yeah, exactly.
They're a little less heavy than they were a minute ago.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I was going to go out, but I didn't. I'm still here.
There's a lot of fun stories of when people will compliment my defense and they'll be like, Graf, you're really good at defense. And I was like, well, that didn't come without years of trial and error.
Yeah.
So there's definitely been a lot of, before you were around, me being like, this is not pleasant to be in.
So right now, if you still believe in Shevchenko, in between rounds, she's plus 425. So you bet $100, you win $425. Massive underdog now. So if you still believe in her, now's the time to bet on her.
Do you think that you would still believe in her? Is that anything
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not after he gave up 10-8. There's no way you're betting on Shevchenko.
Okay. So you don't have the belief that she could still get a knockout here?
No. If it was a different fighter, I might, just for the value. 4-1, yeah, I'll throw a little bit on him. But, Shevchenko hasn't typically demonstrated one-shot knockout power. Most of the fights go to decision. So, she just gave up a 10-8. Doesn't make any sense. There's no value there for me.
Yeah, scorecard 0 value. I'm just talking purely on knockout.
Oh,
scale.
just like on a degenerate scale, like there can always be a knockout. I'm not that far. Yeah.
All right, I'm just saying. Hey, listen, Dan. Who knows? There's still a lot to go. And I will say, when she got up, she wasn't as depleted as I would have been after being in that bad of a situation for that long. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. This is the final of the pre-card fights. So just to fill you in on what's going on here as we return back to the action, once this fight is done, we're going to take a short break and we're going to go to a main card. So just to let you know a little bit ahead of time. I'm sorry, Dan, were you going to say something before I interrupted?
They just popped up the stat 68 strikes to 4.
I was just saying on my side. Shevchenko with 4 strikes. Yeah. Jesus.
And right back to that kickboxing match that I predicted correctly, right? You were right back there.
I mean, you were just a round off is really what it was. Oh, my God. And it's just now backed and sagged down. Oh, God, Dan.
It's a grapple fest. It's all right because I did pick Chookagian by decision. I just thought it would be a more of a kickboxing decision, but I'll take that.
Okay. Let me see. Maybe this is the fight.
Fun fact: in our pool, not a single person predicted this fight would be finished.
Guaranteed. That is an exorbitant amount of people who probably feel the exact same way, or watching right now and going, mm-hmm. I mean, she's trying to spider crawl the arm, if in a way that doesn't give me a ton of confidence on my side. Oh, Dan, this is...
Yeah, shoot. I mean, Chookagian was the slight underdog going into this fight, too, so she's coming into this with a great game plan.
Yeah.
Shevchenko did struggle with, who was it? Was it Roxanne? She struggled with on the ground. Yeah, she struggled with her on the ground. So I mean, she kind of laid the blueprint out for how to beat one of the Shevchenkos on the in a fight, and Chookagian's doing it.
So somebody posted this earlier. This is from Dane Donovan. Since we've got some time here, as you see, Chookagian working this kind of head and arm triangle that does not seem like it's going to avail itself easily. But earlier, Dane Donovan asked, is it just me, or does Tyron look like he lost some mass?
I haven't noticed that. I haven't made any comparisons, but I'd be interested to see that when he walks out.
I mean,
I'm more interested. Will he have the Nike swoosh in the middle of the head, though? That's what I want to know, because...
Well, maybe if he walks out with a mask, dude. Yeah. I think, Dan, you brought up something that is a great point, which is, who's to say you can't walk out with your mask to the octagon? If you need to get around any of the Reebok things, all you have to do is wear your mask and then be like, yo, sponsor me. I can't wear anything except for my mask that is not Reebok approved.
Yeah. I mean, some of these smaller MMA companies just start making masks right away.
Who do you think's going to take it? Because we had people being like, Adidas or Nike needs to sponsor the UFC. And I was like, I don't think they're interested, dude.
I feel like what they need to do is they can't go back to before because it looks shitty. But they can go, they can find some kind of middle ground where, like, here's the approved list of sponsors you can work with. Here's the approved looks that you can go with. Here's where you can put logos on your shit. And give the fighters some kind of flexibility and ability to promote themselves. Because these fight kits that all look the same, I mean, they look good on TV, but I'm not buying one. You're not buying one. Like, no one's paying for this shit. Even the fighters who get this stuff are selling their extra shit online. If you just check Facebook Marketplace, you can find plenty of UFC fight kit shit from people's corners who are just getting rid of it. You know, you cornered 3 fights this month. Well, you got 3 bags full of Reebok shit. You don't need all this stuff, you know? So it just does not work for the consumer. It looks good on TV, but it does not work for people buying this stuff.
There's a large part of me that hopes that when people were saying Reebok kits and all that sort of stuff years ago when they got that deal, and I was like, oh, well, I hope it gives money to the fighters. They probably won't get it, but it's my hope they will. Next thing you know, I go anytime with my wife to like a Marshalls or a Ross. She's like, where are you going? I was like, I want to go see if there's a Reebok kit. I'm not going to buy it. I just want to see if it's here and like on clearance. Yeah. And sure as shit, it's just never there. And anytime you did see Reebok apparel, and I'm talking like the Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor era of like, yeah, we think we can make some money off some idiots who will buy this. Always a full line of people. But conversely, there was no better sign when you went to someone's house who was watching the fights and it's a fight party and they have the Reebok kit, because you'd look at them and go, ha, casual. Amazing. Thank you for wearing this, because it's like a mark. It's like a reverse scarlet letter. You told me you're an idiot.
Unless it's like Budo Matt's house and he's still got like his kit on.
Bless it. Did Budo Matt buy a kit?
No, he gets the free shit. The corners get the free bag every fight. They get the bag full of shit. He
just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Yeah, I just saw he was selling like 3 of his bags because he has so many of them.
Yeah, that's when he said he was going to sell those things, and I was like, bro, who's gonna buy that? Like, they gave me a
casual, definitely a casual.
Fair, but I think I came from working a UFC event where they gave us towels. I was like, one of my friends goes, I'm going to sell these. And I was like, to who? And he goes, someone will buy it. And I go, ugh. And then I just immediately was in the car as we're driving back going, no. God, I hope I never find that person who buys this.
So I want to clear something up from earlier. I said after round 1, if you're going to bet on Shevchenko, now's the time. I was incorrect. Mm-hmm. It was after round 2. She was a plus 2,000 underdog. So you bet $100, you win $2,000.
Fair.
That would have been the time, because she's probably down to 10-8 rounds at this point.
Well, we're in the 3rd round of the fight, and just from a logistical scheduling standpoint, this is one of the ones where the UFC is like, come on, we got to keep this thing rolling. You guys are going to be right at 6 p.m. when we've got to do the transition over. That's a weird...
Is that Dana White I see? Do you see Dana White cage side?
I didn't see him at that moment.
Or
but I'm gonna try
is there another bald-headed white man with a blue mask on?
I will tell you this. That is a rare occurrence to see a bald-headed white dude just around anywhere in the fight game.
Yeah. Oh, look, there's one in the cage.
Well, hey, listen. At least we're standing up for this 3rd round.
Yeah, for now. I wouldn't be unhappy if Shevchenko took it down again and finished a dominant decision on the ground so I could get 3 points in my pool.
Jesus. Would that 3 points help you to potentially be in a good place to win again?
Oh yeah, that definitely help. I got 4 points right now. The person in first has 8, so that put me right up there. Okay.
Well, let's hope she listens to your advice over here. If not, even...
oh no, it won't help because he picked the same thing as me. So
oh no, oh no.
Yeah.
I'm always interested to see, Dan, whenever you get that moment of persons that are maybe on the cusp of wanting to play along on those things, of like anybody who has that deciding factor of like, yeah, I want to do this. Because on a card like this, it's pretty easy if you're a casual not to feel super confident in terms of playing on this one, you know?
I mean, the big one, the UFC 249 pool, where I had like $1,000 in the pool. A bunch of people who jumped in that didn't know MMA for shit. They just, they jumped in and was like, I hear it's $20. You know, this guy looks good. This guy looks good, and they just donated.
Yeah.
So like a fight like this, there's not gonna be nearly as many people, but They're just fun to do.
Yeah, I mean, listen, dude, nobody's going to mock the opportunity to try and make a quick buck if you can.
Yeah.
It's just the matter of, there are some things you bet on that are fights that aren't always the best fights, but you just kind of sit there and go, yeah, okay. Everybody's trying their best right now. They're doing their best. I just need to get my return on investment. That's really all I need on this.
I have not won. I've not won one of these pools yet. This is, I think, my 5th one, and I have not won a single one yet. I got 2nd place, but I have not won one. So I think if I would have won the first couple of them, that might have turned some people away. So I think the fact that I've been losing, I think the fact that I've been losing them it's good for everybody. I did, however, win. I won the Survivor pool at my work, though. I don't know who won Survivor, but whoever won was my guy.
So that was one that I was going to ask you about today because I was confused by it. That means the show Survivor, right?
Yes, that means the show Survivor. I picked a name out of a hat, and that was my guy, and I won that pool.
Are you actively watching Survivor?
I have not watched Survivor since Richard, the naked guy, would go fishing in the ocean. I think that was season 1.
But this affirms my true belief on you and your ability to be like, oh, yeah, sure, here's some money. Just give me a thing in it.
Yeah, what else did I bet on? At work, they always do these interesting things amongst the teachers that, everyone throws in 10, 20 bucks, whatever. We're all going to bet on this, and I'm always down for that. We bet on Game of Thrones, the finale, who was going to die, who was going to live. I'd always do the Survivor one, even though I don't watch Survivor. This time I got lucky, though, because I think the guy I picked had been on the show before or something, or all of them had been on the show, but he had been successful. I don't know. But I remember when I picked his name, I was like, he seems like he's pretty good.
I will tell you, my betting, like, consistent goodness is I'm very solid at betting on the Oscars. I have a vested interest in entertainment. And I've won pools for other people, including myself. But we always have people come to my house to watch the Oscars. We invite them over, and I always win. And everybody hates me. And the thing is, because we're throwing it and we'll often feed people, like, I'm usually making money back that we did to host the party. So, like, if we bought them food, all that sort of stuff. And I have no issue with that. The issue I have is at the end of the night, I get booed because I keep winning. And I'm like, don't come to my party. Don't boo me. Don't come to my house to boo me. Don't make me look like the bad guy because I know more than you. That, like, I don't know what else to tell you.
Oscars are going to be pretty weird next time out, now that they're taking all these.
With the street.
They change the qualifications and stuff. It's kind of interesting. I like to bet on the Oscars too, but usually just like Best Picture or whatever. And when I bet on the Oscars, it's usually not for a specific film. It's like, I bet that this film is not going to win type of thing. What was the one? It was 2 years ago. It was the Spanish film that was on Netflix.
Talking about Roma?
Yeah, Roma. Roma was the favorite to win. I'm like, they're not going to pick this Spanish movie from Netflix. There's no fucking way it's going to win. So I just bet not Roma, and that one hit. So that was okay.
That's good. That is good.
I won. I almost bet on Black Panther. Even like, I know there's no chance, but the odds were like thousands to 1. I was like, and I had this. I had a waiter in Hollywood, and he said like, "Oh, I'm telling you, Black Panther's gonna win. You got to bet on Black Panther." And he had me convinced. I was like, "Yeah, he's got a shot." It's like, I'll throw $20 on Black Panther, but I ultimately just decided that no, fuck Roma. It's not going to be Roma.
Dan, as your official Oscar bookie, please call me before making any decisions, any waiters trying to get you on.
Because my thought process is like, oh, I like Black Panther.
You can't bet on what you like. Don't you follow your own goddamn rules for the fucking movies that you do.
I was like, if I liked it, it seemed like everyone got around this film, but I was like, ultimately, I was like, yeah, but the people who make these decisions are not going to pick Black Panther.
Oh my god!
Because then they would just have to pick Endgame the next year. You know what I mean?
Well, no, it's more so like, oh, Black Panther got in there. Good for like films. Like, think about it like this: comic book films. The whole reason we went to 10 Oscar nominees is because The Dark Knight didn't get nominated, and people were like, "That seems like an egregious era." And then all of a sudden, they said, well, why don't we expand it? And they did expand it, and it was a smart idea in one way. It means that more pictures, more movies can brand themselves as being Oscar nominees for Best Picture. But it also kind of is a weird set of bragging rights to be like, an Oscar nominee for Best Picture. Black Panther? Yeah, sure, why not? Fuck it. Bring it in there. They've got Chookagian, who's talking to Daniel Cormier. But it's great to be known as Blonde Fighter on your Twitter.
Yeah, it's a great fight for her too.
Yeah, it was really
good for the rest. Definitely good to get that one back. You're supposed to beat me, but I just beat you up, and it wasn't even close. So,
well, you got your wish though. I mean, you didn't really get to see any.
No, she was screaming third round. She was screaming third round though. She had to overcompensate for every punch landed in that round.
A couple rounds of not being able to scream, I'm sure, will make you have to re-up for the very last time. So here's what we're going to do. As soon as I finish listening to this, we're going to take a short break. They're going to come back live on ESPN. So that means we're going to kill this stream, but we're going to be back shortly with another. Myself, Dan, I believe our good friend Mike Froster will probably be joining us once he gets off of work in a second. But we have more fights to be bringing you this evening. And I think that's it. Dan, do you have anything you want to say before we sign off on this version real quick?
No. See you guys on the main card.
All right. See you guys in just a second.